Welcome back to another edition of the Rodcast. We like to call it the Freak Flag Feel Good, Fake It Till You Make It. Ric Flair, woo! 512 Football Friday edition of the Rodcast. That's right, because football season's upon us. Matter of fact, there is football tonight that we'll talk about, preseason football. Steelers and the Texans getting into it. We'll talk about that. Speaking of the NFL, NFL news, notes, and nuggets. CeeDee Lamb responds via social media to a Jerry Jones quote. Oh, yeah, very salacious. So we'll get into that coming up in the second hour of the show when we talk NFL. We'll also get into the preseason games last night a little about those. We'll talk about CeeDee Lamb's contract status and Dak Prescott's as well on the show. We're going to get into some college football discussion. Steve Sarkisian spoke to the media yesterday. First time speaking to the media after the news was revealed that C.J. Baxter was going to miss the entire season. Texas projected starting running back. So we'll hear from the head coach coming up here in this segment. Also, we'll dive into it a little bit more when we go behind the burnt orange curtain and talk some Texas football. Team USA, 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 USA. The USA men's basketball team in thrilling, dramatic fashion pulled off a win over Serbia last night. We'll get into that. I want to give my man Patrick's thoughts about it. He's a hoops head, so I want to get his thoughts about that thrilling victory for Team USA. We'll get into that coming up. We'll also some other Olympic news, notes, and nuggets coming up for you. So we got plenty. Of course, all of your usual favorites. We got what the facts, what the stats. We got who said that. We got off the record coming up on the show. Rod's rant will be coming up a little bit later on as well. Topic for the big fat poll of the day. We are loaded on a 512 Friday. Happy that you could be with us. Before we get into any of that, let's introduce you to the rest of the crew. He is one of the hardest working members of the ARN family. He's got a hustler spirit, period. Not sure what he's paid, but I'm pretty damn sure this man is underpaid. Ain't no 401k for this hustler, and he's a hustle man of many talents. It's our friend, co-host, and neighbor. It's Patrick Davis, y'all. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing good. We finally made it to breakdancing the Olympics. The rest of it has been lead up to breakdancing. All the swimming, all the breaking, yes.
Yeah. Breaking. We sound old when we say break dancing. It's like
no, it's just breaking now. Yes.
Yeah, just breaking. You know what I mean? So yeah, just sound cool. You're right. Everything. I buried the lead. I apologize.
As everything else, just leave that.
Oh, can't wait. Can't wait.
Yes.
I gotta make sure I got I gotta make sure I got my television on the right channel too to watch breaking.
Do you have I think it's just probably gonna be on Peacock. I can't imagine they're gonna put it on something.
Okay, well I got Peacock.
Yeah.
I believe I do.
Yeah, I think
wifey has it.
Because Peacock is the Olympic. You can just tune into whatever event. It's been nice of being able to flip through things and find and then just go through whatever the medaling event is. And
well, they got them on like 6 different channels randomly. I mean, you got Olympic coverage. Everything NBC has that they put Olympic coverage on.
Yes, they put out other stuff, but then you can pick and choose and fast forward and rewind and all the other good stuff.
No, that is.
I've been enjoying it, but it's been a
love it.
Yeah, we're getting down to the end. It's the medal count is pretty close, so we'll see. And then the basketball game yesterday was stressful.
Wow, I mean that was crazy.
Stressful.
Down 15 at the end of the third, basically. That was scary. I mean, I was like, wow, this is gonna take. I didn't get a chance to watch it live, but I went back and watched the fourth quarter, and that was amazing. And Steph, man, he just he went nuclear. He does that. I mean, we've seen that before in the NBA, so it's not something surprising, but just on that stage, he saved him. I mean, thank God for him. If he didn't take over the game the way he did, what he had 36.
Yeah, he had 36. And it was fun. What was really fun was watching all the guys that are showing up at Paris kind of to watch the Olympic finals of basketball. So like Carmelo Anthony, who's one of the, all-time greats in Olympic basketball. He was there and going nuts there at the end. There was a funny moment when Dirk Nowitzki saw a foul happen and he was like, I mean, he's just there for the German team, but he's still like that. You're not going to call it? It seems like he's fouling him over there.
Well, yeah. It just seemed like some people were saying that it may have been the greatest Team USA win ever. Well, it's in that conversation.
It's up there solely in the fact that there's not been that many close games where you had to do that in Olympic history. Yeah. It makes it a little bit easier. But yeah, it was definitely something. We'll get into it in just a minute. But let me tell you about my co-host. He is a proud alumni of DBU. He's got more papers than Dunder Mifflin and watches more film than Siskel and Ebert. He is the new Rod Father of Austin Sports Radio, Mr. Rod Babers.
Appreciate that intro as always. Yeah, I mean it's we'll get into it because I've heard people talking about that, but I think you're right. We just haven't had a lot of thrilling victories for Team USA. They haven't needed to pull off anything that dramatic, but when they needed it, they got it. The guys were grateful too. All the comments and stuff. We'll hear from Steph Curry and that's some sound of Kevin Durant, but the guys seemed genuinely grateful for the win. I mean, it was one of those things. They were a 16-point favorite in that game. I told you guys at the beginning of the game, I said there's plenty of money to win because Team USA, the lines are going to be that they're going to be win by 25 and 30. Now, and as you've been saying, it's like they're not going to win by that much. They're going to win, handily, but it's not going to be old school dream team.
Yeah.
And there was money to be made. And I bet if I go back and look at all the lines, I bet you probably did make some money if you were.
Yeah, if you bet against, I mean, they did
keep
beat
it within the line.
They beat Serbia twice by 26 in the first two matchups. So you can look at it and say
that is pretty. That's a blowout.
It is really hard to beat a team over and over again when they do have talent. And there was reasons to believe that this Serbia team could hang in there because both the other games, so especially in the exhibition, but even a little bit in group play. In the second half, Serbia kind of pulled off the defensive effort. You couldn't pull back a little bit, which is, I don't know how much it was premeditated of like, well, we don't have to beat USA, so let's not go too hard. And then when we get to the finals, they won't know what's going to hit them because we'll play way harder in the second half. But we've been competitive in the first half of both of these games, and then we just kind of let off in the second half, and they were able to make a run on us. If we just don't let up, then we'll be fine. And the problem was, at the end of the day, if you take 5 of the best players in the world and they all play insanely intense defense and are all trying to catch you 2 feet outside the 3-point line, it becomes harder and harder to score. And then even if you do have the best basketball player, possibly the best basketball player on the planet in Nikola Jokic, it's still going to be difficult over and over again to get things. And I mean, they still fought hard on it. But, yeah, it was when that defensive intensity like really started to amp up there in the last 5 to 7 minutes. That's when USA could go on that run and finally pull it back in because they played better defense in the second half, but they kind of still were lapsed in and out of it. And then at the end, it was everybody be on because we cannot lose this game.
Yeah, that's what happened. It was this. I think the possibility became real. To them.
Yes,
like, dude, we could lose this game. Like straight up, we could actually lose this game. And everybody, you're right. The intensity then got ratcheted to a whole nother level. But no, it was like I said. I don't know how they. You said hard to beat a team 3 times like that. But how it ended up where they were down like 15 points.
Yeah, they were down.
Instead of being close, down 15 points, basically going into the fourth. That's when I think it's like our panic button. Somebody press the damn panic button.
Yes.
Let's go, guys. Let's go. Yeah. But it was, like I said, it was dramatic. That was a great win. And now they face France.
They play France now in the finals.
In the final,
and it's a completely different French team. Now they do still shoot threes. The one of the big things though that they had a problem with in this game, which they will have a problem again against France, was they just couldn't score in the paint. They were playing terribly in the paint. They didn't really go mid-range until Kevin Durant came in, which you need to play Kevin Durant more. And I get why they're not playing Kevin Durant more. The reason
isn't that crazy saying that? Just saying those words.
Well, but I get why they're not is
because he had the injury. Yeah.
It's not just injury, but also he's not going to play hardcore perimeter defense. And if you're playing him at the 3 and their guys are just jacking up threes over and over again, he's not fighting through screens for 3 quarters and trying to get out on 3-point shooters. And so if you put him in, and even though he's playing well offensively, they're just hitting every 3 because he wasn't going to fight through every screen. He was going to push super hard, which I get. I mean, that's not his game. And that's one of the problems you have when you put all these really great players on a team.
Somebody's got to not everybody can be playing their style, their brand.
Yeah.
Of basketball.
And I mean, you saw if teams are going to shoot threes, which in that first half, Serbia shot threes lights out. And when they would go on those runs, they were just hitting 3 after 3. And it was because, they would run screens, they'd run pick and roll, they'd run pick and pop and whatever else. And they doubled down on Jokic and he kicked the ball back out and there's an easy 3. And it was just over and over again. And then USA was coming down, wasn't hitting their threes early on, and except for Steph Curry, of course. But other guys weren't hitting their threes. And then when they were going inside, the defense would collapse in and they would still think they could go in. And it didn't work for a lot of the game. until that intensity kicked up. And you just say against France, like, if you just bring that intensity a little earlier, it wouldn't be such a problem.
Yeah,
But
you're right.
if you try and be laxed again, they have those FIBA players that are just going to be able to hit those threes on you and pull away a little bit and make everything a lot harder for you.
Yeah, if you let Team USA coast, they'll coast. But but
Yeah.
if you like, and I think you're right about. I mean, they played them that many times. Serbia played them 3 times, and I don't know what the span is, but obviously in a short span, they've been troubleshooting. They've
Yeah.
come up with some new different ways. They've been adjusting, tweaking things. So it would stand to reason that this would be for them their best game plan they've had to attack Team USA. And the threes went down. We know how that is in basketball. It doesn't matter what level you're talking about. If the threes are going down, you got a shot.
Well, no,
against anybody.
and we talked the other, in I believe in the group stage, at least it was either group stage or expedition. When Jokic was in, they were pretty much even with USA, and when he was out, they were getting killed. He played 38 minutes in the game. I mean, that's another piece. When you say just leave Jokic in, they don't have an answer for this. There's nothing they can do. He kills him in the NBA. He's going to kill him here, and so they just left him in, and that was a big piece of making it a little bit harder that he could. And the fact that there's not a defensive 3 seconds that you can really just kind of sit in there and play a little bit easier defense, where when guys are kind of coming downhill on you, you're not having to worry about, you're not playing that game where you're going to have a guy stretch you out and then try and come back in. But I mean, we saw it was fun to see. And what was really fun was to see the excitement on the players to be like, oh, that was a real game. And you're like, yeah, just why do you make it hard on yourselves? I get you enjoy this at the end, but come on.
They did, but they're right. No, you're right. It's weird to say they needed that.
Yeah,
because they're so used to NBA. All right, it comes down to clutch time. We talk about this all the time. I was like, man, it's gonna come down to clutch time in the NBA playoffs. This is the way it is, clutch time.
Yeah,
and they almost they needed it. They needed that clutch time moment, and they hadn't had it. And since I think you're right, that since the exhibition round,
the South Sudan game,
but they needed a kind of a shot in the rear end of some clutch time, and it's crazy. They just needed the drama. We'll hear from Steph Curry coming up a little bit later on, talking about it, and KD. And it's kind of maybe some muffled audio with the KD thing because he's like in a room hanging out.
He's in like a restaurant, I think.
He's like eating while he's talking and everything else. But I just want to play something because he talks about how grateful they are for the win. Like they weren't this, they had a really good attitude about it. Like about their win, and they had a lot of respect for their opponent. The French team. The thing is, I mean, there's no big man as skilled as Jokic, so they don't. That threat is a very unique threat. That
and I mean,
worry about anymore.
And so Rudy Gobert just hasn't really been playing much, mostly because teams can stretch him out. And the same reason that Embiid was having issues early on with this team is that these teams play smaller and they just line up guys on the perimeter, and Gobert can't guard on the perimeter. And so he's just been out of a lot of these games, and they've been playing Wembanyama a lot. Against USA, you may see him play a little bit more, Gobert play a little bit more because he knows the team a little bit better, and especially if they're going to go inside. But you could see Team USA just try and play outside a little bit more. But you got to hit your threes. Now they end up shooting 50% from 3. Which, if you watch that game, it did not feel like they shot 50.
Like that.
But I guess if you take Steph Curry out of the equation, they didn't. But Steph Curry had his game, so he was able to play. But yeah, I mean, now you're looking at it. There's some really good French players. It's going to be the crowd is going to be crazy.
Yeah, you're right, because it's home. It's
a home game for France, and so the crowd is going to be
nuts. And your young star Wemby, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's a lot of juice.
Yeah, so it's going to be a fun game to watch. But yeah, this is one where you can't allow them to get so much momentum and then try and fight back late like that. It's where you have to have the guys start to step up that, as much as the big one again is Tatum didn't really play. And so you say, well, put Tatum in and go, well, Tatum doesn't understand what his role is. Tatum doesn't understand what his role is on the Celtics. He definitely doesn't understand what it is on this team. Yeah. And Tatum wants to be the guy who everyone goes to and says, Jason Tatum, you're the best player in the NBA now. And not, hey, Jason Tatum, go play perimeter defense and rebound the ball. That's what we need from you. And if you're open, take it, but do not, we don't need you to ISO. We don't need you to do any of that. We have guys who are better at it than you. We have got give the ball to Kevin Durant in that moment and see what he can do. And he had and it was a 2 because he understood what the game was. And he goes, once I step inside this line, if I'm at a 3-point line, you think I'm going to shoot a 3. If I take 2 steps in, you're going to back off a little bit and think I'm going to drive in because it's just not a high percentage shot, a shot like a foot or two inside the 3-point line. But he can get that little bit more separation with his height. He can get the ball up a lot easier and hit that big shot. So just little bits like that Durant does, that he understands the game at that level. And so, all of them stepped up in that moment. But if you want to see those guys, if any of those guys that's not really playing a lot of minutes wants to play more minutes, play that type of defense early in the game, and it'll make it really, really hard for Steve Kerr to pull you out.
Yeah. No, and I speaking of defense, I mean, I imagine France, just with the presence of Wemby and
it's that scoring in the paint,
good interior defense. I mean, it's just the assumption. So outside shooting or the mid-range shooting gonna be big.
Mid-range shooting, 3-point shooting will be really, really big. And it'll be, but that'll also be, are you able to take Gobert out of the game by Embiid being able to step out and hit some jump shots and hit some threes? He did that pretty well. The more you pull those guys out of the paint and leave passing lanes open to try and get inside and get dunks for other guys, that'll be big for Team USA, to just try and pull Gobert out of the game and then make it Wembanyama. Wembanyama can play better on the perimeter, but he's still just young. And so, and he doesn't necessarily have the weight that, Jokic, we saw. There was that play late in the game where Jokic bodied up LeBron in the post, and you saw LeBron. There's not many times that guy is over muscled.
Yep.
And Jokic just old man gamed him down.
Big ox out there. Yeah, dude. He really
old man him down. Yeah. And you saw LeBron afterwards just be like, oh boy, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, that don't happen to me a lot.
No, and so, but you can't, that's the thing, is guys can do that more to Wembanyama. Just now, the problem is once you get him where you want him, he can reach over the top of you, and that's what he was doing better at the end of last season. The NBA was, even if you got where you wanted to go, you still had to get around him, and that was really the problem. But if you can put him where you want to, and not necessarily underneath the basket, but by the basket, then you can get the ball off to somebody else, open up more passing lanes, because you can move him around to where the passing lanes you want to have.
Yeah, no, I can't wait. It's going to be fun to watch. And Team USA now, you can tell they're kind of reinvigorated, inspired again. So it's going to be a fun contest. All right, good stuff there. Good breakdown there, Patrick. We'll get to some Sark sound on the other side of this, at least his opening statement talking about the injury to C.J. Baxter and talking about practice. We'll also get into later on more Texas conversation, because we'll go behind the burnt orange curtain next segment. If we don't get to all of the audio, then we'll play some more of it when we go to behind the burnt orange curtain. But right now, let's get informed, let's get educated, let's get updated on all the top stories of the day with my man Patrick Davis, and let's hit the Horn headlines.
All right, the Horn headlines brought to you by Top Gun Rentals and Lawn Equipment. In the MLB, the Astros begin their series with the Red Sox tonight, sending Ronald Blanco to the mound looking for his 10th win on the season. They'll go up against Tanner Hook, who is 8-8 this season with a 3.09 ERA, and a Red Sox team fighting for a wild card spot in the very competitive AL East. The Rangers start their series with the Yankees, who will start Carlos Rodon in New York tonight. Cody Bradford gets a call for the Rangers in his third appearance since returning from injury. Bradford hasn't pitched more than 4 innings since his return and has allowed 8 runs in those outings. In NFL preseason action last night, the Patriots defeated the Panthers 17-3, with Carolina only able to pick up 151 yards in the game. And second-year running back Eric Gray scored both of the Giants' touchdowns in a 14-3 win over the Lions, adding 52 yards on the ground and 46 yards receiving. Tonight, the Texans and Steelers face off, with the Texans expecting to play their starters for a few series, while Pittsburgh will start Justin Fields, who is in a competition with Russell Wilson for the starting job. However, Wilson will not play in the game. Also facing off tonight include the Falcons against the Dolphins and the Eagles taking on the Ravens. And Team USA basketball survived a real scare from Serbia in the semifinals, coming back from down 13 in the final seconds of the third quarter to win 95-91. Steph Curry had a historic performance, putting up 36 points, shooting 9 from 14 from 3. Big plays by Joel Embiid, Kevin Durant, LeBron James led USA back to tie the game with 3:43 left and to take the lead for good with just over a minute later on a Curry 3. USA will now take on France in the gold medal game Saturday at 2:30 p.m. And looking at the current medal count at the Olympics, USA and China are now tied atop the gold at 30 apiece. USA still has the lead in silver at 38 and bronze at 35. In total, with 103, have broken the 100 medal mark for USA, but tied with China at 30 in the gold medal mark as we come into the final days of the Olympics here. And that is your Horn Headlines.
Ooh, that's a little too close for me. I don't know how I feel about that. It's a little too close right there. What you say, 33 each?
30 each.
30 each.
30 each.
All right. All right. Let's hope that they don't have a good breaking team. Let's just hope.
They're in it. They're in it breaking too.
Breaking could really determine the gold medal count winner here.
Like,
man.
yeah, because if you look at what medals there's still some canoeing, sports climbing's going on.
So that can go either way. Those are I don't know where those are either way. That's not
and
like
that's there's still rhythmic gymnastics, diving. China's won a bunch of diving medals.
Yeah.
That's where diving has caught them up a lot. Where swimming, USA was better at swimming. They're really good at diving. So they're winning back some.
Oh yeah.
China's still up there in the men's team gold medal for table tennis. They're in that match.
Oh, that's right.
Against
Sweden. They're amazing at table tennis. Damn.
They're in that one. USA is in the volleyball bronze medal match. They're not going to win that one.
Not worried about that. Yeah, we got talking about the gold medal count here.
There's a lot. I'm still looking.
There's a lot. But there's also, like you said, there's a good amount that China probably could be.
China's in the gold medal match for hockey, women's hockey.
They're
in a lot of these. They're in the women's boxing.
Oh man, that's what. Hold on, man. We should have some pretty good female boxers. We don't. I mean, don't we? I don't know. Am I just being, I don't know, unreasonable here? Although I thought our MMA female fighting was starting to grow a little bit. Maybe I'm off about that.
I think it's still there, but yeah. But I mean,
I guess boxing is different, but I don't know. I gotta go check that out. Yeah, I guess internationally, there's some pretty hardcore ladies out there. So yeah. I don't know.
It's time to start rooting against the Chinese on everything.
Yeah, I didn't realize there were that many events left. I thought track and field would pretty much push us over the top, and it did. I think it gave us a lot of gold medals in track and field, but not as many as I thought. I thought we'd have some separation there. There's no separation.
No, still a lot of medal events to come. So, and USA's in a bunch of these too, but they're in multiple, so they're not one-on-ones where I can see them right off by looking at the schedule.
I get you. So not as
I mean, USA is in the women's soccer gold medal game today. They're in that one, so
that's good.
And they're in that.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying like it's a lot of sports left that I think China could also win gold in. Didn't realize there were that many of them left. So
they are not in they're not in men's basketball. We know that.
Well, we were gonna win that one regardless. So, I mean, that's not really even one that was good. I'd already counted that one.
You already counted. So you're at 31 already.
Yeah, in my head, I'd already counted that goal. That was like that's a done deal. Until I got a little scared yesterday, actually, halfway through that game. All right. Anyway, let's get. You know what? Since we're up against it, let's take the break and we'll get to the behind the burn orange curtain segment, and then we'll start up our Sark sound. We'll play most of that Sark audio, his opening statement about C.J. Baxter and that injury and how it affects the team. And he talks about the running back depth and goes into detail about some of the freshmen, Christian Clark and Jarrett Gibson. So come back. We'll come back and we'll do that on the other side. This is the Rodcast featuring my man Patrick Davis. I'm Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers coming right back on the Horn. All right, welcome back to the Rodcast. Time to get into some Texas football conversation and hear from Steve Sarkisian. He spoke to the media yesterday, had his first media availability after the news broke that C.J. Baxter was going to miss the entire season. So he started actually in on the good note, and he was really positive about what he saw at practice. Gave the team a lot of compliments about the way they performed at practice. Here is the opening statement from Steve Sarkisian.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to say today was a heck of a practice. I was proud of our guys. You know, we had practiced Saturday. We had taken Sunday off. I mean, we went hard Monday and Tuesday. We took Wednesday off and came back and worked today. We'll have a little lighter practice tomorrow, and then we'll scrimmage Saturday. And I thought the energy, the work ethic, the physicality of practice, the intent which our guys practiced with today was really impressive. I commended them for that up there on the field right now. So we're making good strides across the board in all three phases. Special teams is really starting to come now, looking what it's supposed to look like. We're getting into all of the different phases of the game now, whether it's base downs, third downs, fourth downs, red area, low red, goal line. So we're really working those things, and then we'll introduce 2-minute tomorrow. So the game is starting to come together for our guys now, which is encouraging.
All right, that's Sark with the opening statement, and after he started off on I think a positive note, he got to the bad news, which was C.J. Baxter's injury. Here's Steve Sarkisian.
Got to make some adjustments, but I think that's the value of trying to recruit at a high level. Obviously we got some unfortunate news coming out of practice the other day with Cedric Baxter being lost for the season. I hate it for the kid. The same way I talked about Leonga Lafau the other day. If you polled our team, who are the top 3 teammates on our team, Cedric Baxter would be in that top 1, 2, or 3 as well. And as much as we love him for the player that he is, we love him more for the teammate that he is. And, our thoughts and prayers are with him. We're encouraged by all the doctors that he's going to make a really healthy recovery, and we'll have him back for next season. So again, from our perspective, we'll be okay. Naturally, we're going to have to make some adjustments like anything. Anytime you lose a player, you got to make some adjustments, but I think that's the value of trying to recruit at a high level. And the way we practice, the way that we do with a lot of the 2 spots, a lot of our guys are getting reps. And so we're plenty deep enough to still be a very good football team. Again, we would love to have him, but that's the nature of football. And you have to be able to withstand and deal with injuries whenever they present themselves, whether they're in training camp or whether they're late in the season, potential playoff injuries and such. So that's why you have to develop your entire roster. And I think our staff's doing a really good job of that right now.
Yeah, I will give Sark credit. He's been talking about, developing the roster, playing a lot of guys, and anticipating injuries for the entire offseason. He's been, every interview I've seen him, he talks about it. I don't think he anticipated it would hit them this early, but it was definitely something that was a top priority for him. So it will be put to the test. That running back room and the depth in that running back room will also be put to the test now. Here is Steve Sarkisian when he was asked about the depth in the running back room overall, now with the loss of C.J. Baxter.
As of right now, I feel really good about the 4 guys that we have. They're all playing at a high level, with Jaden and Trey and then Christian and Jarek. To be fair to the rest of the guys on the roster, I kind of want to give them through this first scrimmage. They've been working out of position to give them a chance to play in this first scrimmage. And then, we'll assess on as a staff on Sunday when we evaluate the entire roster, if that's something that we may do.
He also within that quote did talk about at the end of it, because I believe the question at the end of the question, it was referenced whether they would switch positions, like someone would switch positions, whether they would move a wide receiver to running back or move a linebacker to running back. And Sark at the end there said that's something they'll evaluate after the scrimmage. So that's a possibility too, that if they don't like the depth after the scrimmage, they could switch some player to running back from a different position. All right. So here is Sark when he was asked about the two freshmen, Jared Gibson and Christian Clark. So asked about them specifically and their development. How quickly can you accelerate that development for them? Here is Sark talking about the two freshmen.
No, with no question. But we always think kind of down the road. We're always thinking contingency planning. And so, we've touched all along from day one that more guys are going to have to play for us this fall. And it's going to require our freshmen to get indoctrinated to college football quicker. Essentially, we have 4 kind of preseason games before we get into SEC play. And we want to play a lot of people. And to play a lot of people, that means young players have to play, most notably those 2 backs. And so hopefully, they can get some good experience this weekend and continue to grow as players. I've been impressed with both those two young guys here early on in camp. They're working really hard. They got natural ability. They're both physical players. So it's not a development in a sense of, man, they need to get bigger over an offseason. These guys are more than equipped physically to do it. They're just going to need to get them their rep.
All right. So Sark big on the freshmen, the 2 freshmen that came in. He also planned on putting those guys into the rotation early anyway. He talks about playing a lot of players. Trey Weisner is someone who already impressed. He was getting a lot of love from the coaches even before the CJ Baxter injury. Now Trey Weisner's role will be even, I think, more expanded, even more, of course. Here is Sark when he was asked about Trey Weisner and his new role with the team.
Trey's a baller. We saw the physicality that Trey possessed last year on special teams. I mean, he was a demon on special teams for us last year. That was a deep running back room that he was sitting in, with Jonathan and Keelan and then Cedric and Jaden. So, when you're sitting there as the 5th back, and then we had Savion even at Wildcat, he didn't maybe get as many carries in game, but we saw what he could do at practice. And then, when he got his few shots there against Tech and against Oklahoma State, he ran hard, he ran physical, he's fast. But the one thing he possesses, he's a really versatile player. And even going back to high school, that championship team they had at DeSoto was a heck of a team. Trey was all over the field and catching balls, running the ball, playing physical. He provides great energy. He's an awesome teammate. So, like I said, we're really fortunate to have him.
All right, there you go. Really high on Trey Weisner. And that running back room does have the next man up philosophy. Where you're talking about last year with Jay Brooks stepping up when TJ Baxter got hurt, and Baxter and Blue stepping up when Jonathan Brooks got hurt. And before that, whether you're talking about Rojo, whenever, Bijan rarely, but did get dinged up. Here's Sark when he was asked about the culture in that running back room and how special it is.
Yeah, I think Coach Choice does a great job in his room. They're one heartbeat in that room. It's not individuals; it's one room. There's a standard for which he sets and we set for how our running backs play in our offense and on our team. As you guys know now, going into year 4, the running back is an integral part of what we do, and they possess kind of the heartbeat of the team and our running style, and then our ability to be really versatile. We ask a lot of the runners. And so when their numbers are called, I think they're all very hungry, right? They work hard. We push them. They get a lot of reps in practice. And so when their number is called in game, generally whoever goes in there plays really well. I mean, you can go back to our very first year. Whenever Jonathan Brooks went in the game, it was like, man, he's scoring another long touchdown, And so go back to last year when early in the season, whenever Jaden Blue would get in the game, the BYU game, he's snapping off long runs. And so it's a hungry room. I think Coach Choice does a great job of motivating those guys, but yet hold them accountable to the standard for which we want those guys to play.
There you go, Coach, talking about the running back room overall. And that's something I referenced the last couple of days. That's why I trust however it works out. I don't know how it's going to look. I don't know how it'll, materialize, but I do think the running game overall will be fine because I think the running back room and the culture in that room has a culture of excellence. So whoever steps up, and maybe it's just Jaden Blue becoming a workhorse running back. Maybe it's Jaden Blue and Trey Weisner. Doesn't skip a beat. Maybe it's one of the young guys like CJ Baxter last year who just steps up and really takes a stranglehold on the position like a Jared Gibson or a Christian Clark. But I got faith in that running back room. But one of the things, and I think it is a valid concern, one of the things Sark was asked about was whether, these running backs can run in between the tackles, right? That CJ Baxter was your power back. He was the guy who's going to run in between the tackles for you. He was going to be your guy mostly on the goal line too. I imagine he was going to be your short yardage guy. Not saying Jaden Blue can't be that, but Jaden Blue is more known as a speed back, and that's his elite trait is his speed. He's gained some weight, but his elite trait is his speed. He's gained some weight, so he can be more effective on those interior runs. Trey Wisner is a guy that has a perimeter-oriented game. Actually, I would say the legs on your two freshmen would indicate maybe they have some more power. So you'll see with a Jared Gibson and a Christian Clark, now they're going to get a chance to showcase if they can be a short yardage back or if they can be someone you could use on the goal line, someone who's better running in between the tackles. But Sark has a lot of faith that these running backs can get it done, even though the freshmen and their skill set may actually lend itself for them to be speed backs or more perimeter-oriented backs. Sark says he has faith that they can run in between the tackles.
Both of them are physical players. Jarek is a workhorse. He's a very hard-nosed runner, tough. Christian's got great one-cut ability. Both catch the ball out of the backfield. But when you see them in person, you just look at their lower halves. They're put together. They're very physical players. They're strong. So I'd have no hesitation running either of those guys between the tackles.
There you go. So he'll run the freshman in between the tackles. We shall see. I mean, Cedric Baxter was a freshman and ended up being, one of your better interior runners because he just has a natural. He runs higher. I think his pad level could be lower, but he naturally is one of those backs that runs a little bit higher. But he has great vision and patience. And there's different some backs just naturally they can run well in a lot of traffic on goal line, short yardage situations. And some backs really don't have that. Remember, Savion Red had a knack for that. That's why they let Savion Red run the Red Cat. And some backs don't really have that knack. And I do think it's a vision thing, and I think it's something that comes pretty naturally. Okay, so getting back to Sark's comments, he was asked about, okay, so now what about the versatility on your team now? Do you lose some of the versatility? I mean, I've talked about it. I think you're going to lose some of the pony package. I love the pony package. You guys know that I've been yelling about the damn pony package for 3 years now, 3 or 4 years on the 40 acres because it works. But I will admit you're probably going to lose out on as many increased usage of the pony package when you don't have the depth at running back. Now, if one of those youngsters, those freshmen step up, then maybe you can use it again. If they step up and earn the trust of the coaches, then you would have that depth again. But here's Sark when he was asked about the versatility of the offense now. Is that something now he's worried about without CJ Baxter?
Well, I think the one thing that it does, you're again, I'm knocking on wood. Down the road, if a couple of guys get nicked up, I know that I've got guys that can play multiple positions for us, first of all. Second of all, as we're going through it, yes, they are versatile, but we are still trying to identify what they do best so that we ultimately can put them in position to do the things that they do best in game, with the understanding that they're not limited to just that there's more to their game than just that. And so that's the process we're in right now, recognizing the versatility, but yet identifying what they do best and ensuring that our job as coaches is to put them in the best position to be successful.
Now, something that I suggested that, you put the ball in Quinn Ewer's hands more. Right? I'm not talking about airing it out downfield or anything, vertical passing game, just increasing your early game, early down pass rate. I think, honestly, throughout the game, I think Sark wants to close out games with the run, but early in games on early down, start throwing it just a little bit more instead of running it because you no longer have your marquee bell cow running back in CJ Baxter. And, those what would be rushes for Jaden Blue can be also touches for Jaden Blue, and you can get him in the passing game. And it can be short, high percentage passes, quick game, RPO, screens, flares, just extensions of the running game pretty much. Very second nature, what would be for Quinn Ewers. I mean, he's been in the system now 3 years. I mean, that would be muscle memory pretty much for him to throw those kind of passes. And so maybe that's a route to go. So here's Sark when he was asked about, hey, are you going to air it out more now with CJ Baxter sidelined for the season? Here's Steve Sarkisian.
Again, we have a system in place that we love balance. We love versatility. We love multiple personnel groupings. We love motion shifts, formations, all that kind of stuff. But I'm also not, I'm not so stubborn to think that, okay, whatever our team may be best at, that's where you start to have to lean into, a couple of years ago, we were a run first, run second, and run third team, and we were really good. There's been different years and different teams I've been a part of where the passing game became the focal point of the offense and the run game became the complement to that. And so, like I said, we're a week into this thing from a football installation, learning our team perspective. As we start, getting through kind of 2 scrimmages, we'll start to get a real identity for our team and where our strengths are. And then we'll start to lean in that direction, but still not neglect all aspects of our team, because we're at our best when we have really good balance.
So he's leaving it open. That's just smart, right? Because you don't know what the identity of your team's going to be. Your identity, as I've always said, is based on your strengths. So once you figure out what your strength is, and he's admitting now we lost CJ Baxter, the running game may not be our strength. So why the hell would I lean on the running game? I mean, that wouldn't be smart as a coach. All right. Your identity is your strength. So now your strength actually may be, as I pointed out yesterday, your passing game. You got your deep at wide receiver, the offensive line for the 5 stars return. So you should be able to block at a competent, proficient level. Your quarterback's the 3rd year starter in the system. Everything's second nature to him. And Sark, as I've pointed out, when he's at his most creative, is in the passing game. I mean, he can dial up some great runs. For the most part, y'all know when Sark's dialing it up, it's the passing game. It's where his brilliance is really reflected. And that's when he gets really, really creative. And I've told you guys, in the big games, you go look at the big games last year, early on in those big games, and that's his script, right? His 40-play script, which is crazy. His 40-play script early on in games, he's leaning more toward the pass. They have his pass rates are in the Bama game, it was 56%, 58% in the Oklahoma game, 62% early down pass rate. This is early down pass rate. So first half, 62% in the Oklahoma State game, the Big 12 title game. Wanted to put it on Gundy. The Washington game, it was only 53%. That's because the running game was working. And I don't think Sark wanted to lean on the running game as much. Probably should have, right? Going back to the pony package. The pony package was killing Washington. Texas was averaging damn near 10 yards per play on the pony package. And Sark, for some reason, didn't run it. And he didn't want to run it because he's about balance. This is something we're going to deal with this year. He's about balance. And he's balance and moderation. And I think you got to give him a lot of credit because he really does. I mean, he's disciplined as a play caller. He really does want to exercise moderation and balance. That's why when he starts off in that Washington game on the second drive and on his script, he has the pony package and they go down the field, score that first touchdown. He averages 10 yards per play. He doesn't deviate from the script and go, I'm running pony package till they stop this damn thing. Good luck. Nope. He runs 7 plays on that drive, scores a touchdown, and only runs 2 pony package plays the rest of the game. I'll give him credit. That's discipline. Because I'd be like, it's gonna be like, oh hell no, I'm going pony package. Hey, pony package. Let's go, guys. Let's go. They can't stop it. Pony package. Nope, not sir. Quinn Ewers was 4-5 in empty formation against Washington, and the previous year before that, he was 7 of 8. In the Alamo Bowl, the empty formation. Did Sark run it more? Nope. He's like, nah, that's just enough. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. I would become an extremist in those situations, but not Sark. And I think this year he should. My point is he should. It's too much. Everything in moderation, include moderation in terms of that as a play caller. And I think that ultimately may get him in trouble this season. But we'll see. I like that he said he's going to wait and see what the identity is. Because like I said, it could easily end up being the passing game. All right, last cut here. I'm going to get the last one before we get to the break. This one is about Jaden Blue. He was asked about Jaden Blue ultimately and what he's expecting now that Cedric Baxter's out. Here is Steve Sarkisian.
Well, I think the first area for Jaden that I've been really proud of him is his maturity. From where he was when he arrived here at the University of Texas to where he is today. This guy's on our leadership committee. He's really a respected player on our team, not only from who he is off the field, but the way he works on the field. Naturally, his skill set is unique because we talk about versatility in our offense. And he's a guy who's a really good threat running between the tackles and can be a home run hitter. When he gets on the edge, it's a problem. He's got a great route running ability and hands out of the backfield. So he allows us to do a lot of different things with him. And I think that creates a really nice complement, especially with Trey. Now you have two guys on the field that are electric in the backfield and running the ball, but also on the perimeter catching the ball.
Yeah, hey, it may end up being something that inspires a new type of offense for Texas, considering the versatility of both of those guys. All right, we come back. We got the topic of the big fat topic for the big fat poll today, and we'll have the introduction of 5-1-2 Friday right here on the Rodcast, featuring my man Patrick Davis on Lifetime Longhorn. Rod Babers coming back on the horn.
Back here on the Rodcast on a 5-1-2 Friday. That means we play 5-1-2 music, local music. You can go check out around town all this weekend long. And this is Patrice Pike, legendary artist here in Austin. She's going to be playing Saturday at the O4 Center. Patrice Pike, Saturday at the O4 Center there. Let's get to the big fat poll of the day. Text line is open 512 447-3776 is the text line number. And you can hit us up also on at the Horn ATX on X.
Patrick's Big Fat Poll of the Day on the Horn.
Big Fat Poll of the Day today. Preseason football kicking off last night. We had the Hall of Fame game last week, but now all the teams are playing. And since the Cowboys are playing their first game, we've done a lot of talking about the Cowboys, and now we get to see some of the Cowboys. So I thought we'd ask, which Cowboy are you most interested in watching in the preseason? And I'll give you a few names that I have that are ones that I'll be watching. And we won't know how many reps any of these guys will actually take, but just to see how they are and what they do in preseason. Trey Lance is definitely one that you want to see in preseason.
Number one. Agreed.
Deuce Vaughn. Is Deuce Vaughn going to make this roster? Is he going to be someone that can be there? Because I don't think we'll see a lot of Rico Dowdle. We know Royce Hampton's hurt, so we're not going to see him. So I think we're going to see a lot of Deuce Vaughn and to see if he can carry the ball more or if they don't even have the faith in him to play him in the preseason. That's what I'm kind of curious to see with Deuce Vaughn, or if that was just was a guy that there's like, nope, we missed on that pick. We thought he could be something, but he's just, and maybe he will be down the road, but we gotta let him go for now. DeMarvion Overshown.
That would be a good one too. Yeah.
Are you excited?
He's genuinely competing for a spot.
He's competing for a spot. He's going to play some. We want to see. We haven't seen him play in the NFL because he got hurt so early last year. And then Mozzie Smith. What does he look like out there? I don't think he's probably going to play a ton of reps, but I would assume he plays some. How does he look? How does he go up against those O linemen? Is he able to get some push on them? Is he able to take up a couple blockers, seeing what Mozzie Smith does? Those are four guys that I think are interesting to watch during the Cowboys preseason. I don't know how much any of them are going to play. You assume Trey Lance is going to play a few series?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, he should. I mean, but he is the third string quarterback, though, actually. So
you would assume he would play?
Dak's not going to play much at all, huh?
I don't think Dak's.
Yeah, he's going to. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Dak's not going to play much. And then you got Cooper Rush.
But are they going to play Cooper Rush like a half? And then Trey Lance? Or are they just going to play their
quarter?
Are we going to see our – is it going to be fourth and fifth string quarterback the entire time?
I don't even know who the fourth quarterback is for the Cowboys. I got to go look on the depth chart. But I'm sure Trey Lance will get a good quarter and a half, 2 quarters.
Yeah.
They should want to see him out there, but I think, ultimately, he should. They're going to keep him. Regardless of what happens. I can't see him having a bad performance and them trying to cut him. Like I can't. I don't think he's competing for a job or anything.
No, I think they want to stick him out there. The big question is, do they want to try and trade him? And so if they stick him out and he throws a touchdown, they go, get him out of the game right now. He looked good, and we know what's after this, so pull him out now.
Yeah. What they spend on him, a fourth?
But you was trying to get anything back at this point because.
No, I know. I'm just trying to see if they, what they could try to get back in return from a mid-round pick. No, I'm trying to think about the teams that are quarterback needy teams that would be interested in a developmental project like Trey Lance. I don't think there are many that would be interested in a developmental project like Trey Lance, actually. I'm trying to think. But there are some guys who would just stockpile QBs, so they'd give up a late round pick for him and just bring him in to see. Like a Sean Payton would do that. Other coaches because they just like stockpiling QBs, but that's about it. But no, I'm with you. I like Trey Lance. I want to see Trey Lance. DeMarvion Overshown's a good one too. Maybe those third and fourth wide receivers, the Jalen's. To see who steps up.
I doubt Tolbert's going to play a ton, but you may see Cooper and Brooks.
You may see some of what Turpin will be out there, I imagine.
Turpin.
He's some of these, I would see him in the return game actually with that new return rule.
Yeah, see if they put him out there. From the preseason games we've seen so far, the couple last night, you did not see a lot of guys who are going to make the roster playing in these games far.
That's true. Yeah.
And so I don't think we'll see a ton of any of these guys, but if you're looking at what you're going to see early on, Overshown just to see what he can do and see how he looks. See how he's moving out there, how they kind of use him a little bit more, where they're putting him on the field will be interesting to see with him.
I just want to see the Zimmer system a little bit too. It's just a new system. It's no longer the Dan Quinn system, so at least you'll see the framework of it. You won't see the pieces that you will see in the season, but at least you'll see the framework and what it looks like.
Yeah,
just a raw, and obviously there's no in-depth game plans here. everything is as vanilla as it gets. Like there's
Oh,
so
yeah.
it'll at least I'm saying the vanilla game plan of it, but at least you'll see it. So that's something else I'll look out for. Yeah, that's it's probably. I don't know if Schoonmaker, remember the tight end. I don't know if
Yeah,
he's playing because he was dealing with an injury.
he's dealing with
If
an
he
injury, so yeah,
plays,
he
I'd like to
may.
see him. We haven't seen him either.
But yeah,
He didn't
and
play
I mean,
much.
and I mean that's a question. I mean, last night JT Sanders didn't even get a pass thrown his way,
Yeah,
and I kept seeing him in
yeah,
plays, but he was just blocking, and you were like,
yeah,
all right. But the Panthers
yep.
looked god awful last night, so
the Panthers are going to be they're going to be pretty bad. It seems that way anyway. We'll
I
see.
mean, and
When
we like
Bryce
they
Young
weren't
and
playing starters, and I
when
mean their
Bryce Young
starters
and
are backup players, so it was a. But yeah, that was a 151 total yards offensively.
UGLY.
And
It's
like that,
ugly.
I was like, did they shorten the pre? Did they only play 3 quarters? Like,
Did he get? Was there a lightning storm or something like that? No, I'm with you. That was an ugly game. I didn't even watch all of it because I was like, oh, this is too ugly. And I was looking for JT Sanders too because before the game there was some hype that he was going to be targeted by at least the guys who cover, or at least the media that covered Carolina. And right, nothing, crickets on that. All right, but I would say Deshaun Jameson almost had a pick 6 in that game. I did see that.
nice.
And he just missed out on. And he had a kickoff return, if I'm not mistaken, for about 26 yards, somewhere around there. So Deshaun Jameson's got a good chance to make that squad with his kickoff return ability and playing some DB. So that's something to keep in mind. And also, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Caden Stearns sign with the Panthers too? I'm gonna say CB threw that out there.
I could believe
Because
that.
Caden Stearns got cut by the Broncos, got released. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Carolina picked him up, but I could be off. I'll go check that in the break. But I saw it on, I think I saw it from CB, and I trust CB on that timeline wise. All right, we come back. Good stuff for the topic for the Big Fat Poll of the day. We'll get to that on the other side. We'll also get to this Cowboys news. Jerry Jones speaking on the CD Lamb contract negotiation, and he probably should not be speaking at all. It's just, and you know what? Maybe Jerry Jones is doing this because he wants the media attention and he wants the headlines. If that is the case, then mission accomplished. But I don't think it's going to help his negotiation with CD Lamb because CD Lamb's already responded, and I don't think it's the response that Jerry Jones would want. But maybe it is. We'll get into that on the other side, talk some Cowboys, all that and more right here on the Rodcast featuring Patrick Davis. I'm Lifetime Low and Rod Davis coming back on the horn. Welcome back to the Rodcast. It is a freak flag, feel good, fake it till you make it. Ric Flair, woo! 512 Football Friday edition of the Rodcast. And a 512 Friday means my man Patrick, my co host, he plays jams from local bands and artists, very talented human beings that you have a chance to catch live right here in the ATX. Who we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is the Swift Drag, and they are playing tonight, Friday night, at the 13th floor.
It's a great name for a band. The Swift Drag.
The Swift Drag.
It's good. It's good. Like I said, I'd like to know the genesis of it, but still, cool name. I like it. All right, we'll get to some NFL discussion. Jerry Jones. I don't know if he regrets this statement or not. It's. I don't think it's helping the contract negotiations with CeeDee Lamb. But for Jerry Jones, oftentimes, and I've said this before, I think he makes these statements just so he can basically promote and market the Dallas Cowboys and make sure the Cowboys are in the headlines. And he takes advantage of these kinds of situations. But that's also why that's kind of the genius of his marketing plan, if you will, is that's why the Cowboys are the number one TV star on the number one TV show in America. It's because he keeps them relevant. He does. It really, and like I said, I don't know if it's helping the football side of the business, but it definitely helps keep the Cowboys relevant and keep them top of mind in the headlines. And he's doing it again. Good for you, Jerry. He's just stealing headlines from people. He just sees other teams getting talked about. The 49ers getting talked about, or the Steelers getting talked about. He's like, Team USA, America's team is the Cowboys. And Jerry Jones will just say something, and then boom, he knows he's going to get a certain amount of airtime. I'm pretty sure there's actually a quote of him because I think as he gets older, as you get older, everybody loses their filter. You get older. I mean, you're just not as, quick, and you lose your filter. It happens to everybody. That's why everybody's got old aunts and uncles and grandparents who are inappropriate and not, and they are politically incorrect a lot of the times these days. That's just the way it is. And Jerry Jones, I'll read a quote later on, and he's starting to say some of the quiet part out loud. He is. It's a little bit of it starting to slip out there. And I think he's starting to admit, like, yeah, some of this stuff I'm just doing just to rile you guys up. And it may, like I said, it may affect the football side of the business. So we'll get into that. They'll talk Cowboys and the drama with the Cowboys. I will also talk about Dak Prescott. There's some sound of Mina Kimes. She was asked about Dak Prescott's potential free agency if the Cowboys can't get a deal done with Dak. They're struggling to get a deal done with CD, and what that would mean. So we'll get into some of the audio from her and hear from her later on in this segment. Talk Dak Prescott's contract situation, because nobody's talking about that right now because the CD contract negotiation has really taken over.
Yeah,
the and Cowboys headlines. And he's not there.
Dak's there.
CD's not there, but like I said, it's still. I mean, that's looming as well. I mean, that's Dak's just being amicable with the process, but it's looming. It's coming. And she thinks, and I said this before, Dak, what if Dak wants to hit free agency?
Yeah.
That is scary. That Dak's like, no, I want to hit free agent. I want to be a free agent. It's about that time for me. Move on from the Cowboy, which he's talked about. Get max money in terms of the value of what, his situation. And, potentially pick and be able to pick your own team.
Yeah.
Where you want to go? I don't think he wants to, but I don't know Dak. Maybe
I don't think he
does.
I don't think I think in a perfect world, if you said, you get to pick, you get paid and you get to stay here, or or you have to leave, he'd rather get paid and stay here. But if they're going to lowball him, and if he has to take a team-friendly deal that, history would show means absolutely nothing, that Jerry's going to spend the money on anybody else. The team-friendly deal is a Jerry-friendly deal, not a Cowboys-friendly deal.
Kansas City did the same thing.
I agree.
For Mahomes, team-friendly deal, and so that goes across the board.
It does,
cheap
but
owners.
No, and I get, but that's what I'm saying. But if he's saying, well, you have to do this to give us a break, and then he does it, and then they don't want to pay CD still, what's he going to sit there and now if you pay CD and you go, well, we had to pay him, so maybe take less. Maybe that's a different conversation. But if you would say everybody has to take a team-friendly deal for what? Well, so we make more money. And we don't have to give you as much cash. We don't want to pay the cash. We don't want to do that. So you have to sacrifice, not us. And that doesn't fly as well in 2024 as it did in other years.
Yeah. So we'll hear from Jerry Jones. He likes the drama. He's like TNT. He loves the drama. And now the Cowboys have all responded. CD's responded. Micah's kind of responded via social media, and Dak was asked about it too. So we'll get into that on the other side. But first, let's get updated, educated, and informed on all the top stories of the day with Patrick Davis and the Horn Headlines.
All right, your Horn Headlines brought to you by Top Gun Rentals and Lawn Equipment. In the MLB, the Astros begin their series with the Red Sox tonight, sending Roniel Blanco to the mound looking for his 10th win on the season. They will go up against Tanner Huck, who is 8-8 this season with a 3.09 ERA, and a Red Sox team fighting for a wild card spot in the very competitive AL East. The Rangers start their series with the Yankees, who will start Carlos Rodon in New York tonight. Cody Bradford gets a call for the Rangers in his third appearance since returning for injury. Bradford hasn't pitched more than four innings since his return and allowed 8 runs in those outings. In NFL preseason action last night, the Patriots defeated the Panthers 17-3, with Carolina only able to pick up 151 yards in the game. And second-year running back Eric Gray scored both of the Giants' touchdowns in a 14-3 win over the Lions, adding 52 yards on the ground and 46 yards receiving. Tonight, the Texans and Steelers face off, with the Texans expecting to play their starters for a few series, while Pittsburgh will start Justin Fields, who is in competition with Russell Wilson for the starting job. However, Wilson does not expect to play tonight. Also facing off tonight, games include the Falcons against the Dolphins and the Eagles against the Ravens. Team USA basketball survived a real scare from Serbia in the semifinals, coming back from down 13 in the final seconds of the third quarter to win 95-91. Steph Curry had a historic performance, putting up 36 points, shooting 9 for 14 from 3. Big plays by Joel Embiid, Kevin Durant, and LeBron James led USA back to tie the game with 3:43 left and take the lead for good just over a minute later on a Curry 3. USA will now take on France in the gold medal game Saturday at 2:30. And going back to look at our overall medal count for the Olympics so far, U.S. and China are still tied at 30 apiece in the gold medal count. USA is leading silvers at 38, bronze at 35, and the total medal count with 103, but tied at 30 atop the gold medal count leader for USA. And that is your Horn Headlines.
USA. Yeah, actually, it's a little tighter than I would like in terms of the gold medal count, but that's all right. Still got a good chance to win it. But I thought track and field would give us some separation. It did not give us the separation that I thought. So hopefully Team USA can pull off the gold medal count win against China. But a lot of sports, a lot of competition left in the Olympics, including breaking, by the way, which will be
a couple hours away there
later on in the morning. Yeah, so I'm trying to get my Peacock working out here, but if I can't, I might need Patrick to give us the play-by-play, give us the breakdown of what's happening in breaking coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. All right, thank you, Patrick, for the Horn Headlines. Let's get right to this Jerry Jones sound. And I don't even know. I tried to get as much of the sound as I could because there was like a 10-second clip, and then so I found a longer one, at least a 30-second that would give us more context of it, and him actually conversing with the reporter. But he's asked about the CeeDee Lamb contract status and our negotiation, and here is what Jerry Jones just recently had to say.
Are you saying there's a sense of urgency as you begin the preseason to get CD done?
No.
Why you say that?
I'm I went to high school or I went to college. I don't know why I said it, but I'm just saying I don't know. I don't have a sense of urgency about getting it done.
It's a long-standing tradition.
Pick any reason you want. I was at Nobu 2 days ago. Give that as a reason.
Yes, sir.
Wow. I just love he's like, I don't really have a reason. I just don't have a sense of urgency to get it done. Sometimes I think he is just doing it. Because the drama, because he knows this will keep the Cowboys. We'll talk about the Cowboys, and they will stay relevant all the way through training camp with this. And he's almost, and like I said, that's part of it is football business, which is, hey, get the CeeDee Lamb deal done. But part of it is him being a great promoter. Like he's a fantastic promoter of the brand of the Dallas Cowboys, and this is part of it where he's just like I said, I think part of the strategy is promoting Cowboys. I'll read this quote to you. And then we get into break it down. CeeDee Lamb's response. But I love this quote, and I kept it from John Machota. Matter of fact, John Machota is the one who put that quote you just heard out on social media, and the one that CeeDee responded to. But and this was maybe about a month ago, when Jerry Jones was asked about CeeDee Lamb, and this is what John Machota said. He said, after today's news conference, Cowboys owner Jerry Jones talked off to the side for another 7 minutes after he addressed the media at a news conference. And it says Jones, when asked a follow-up question about CeeDee Lamb's contract situation, said, quote, I'm just going to say this to y'all. Give me some credit, okay? You don't think I'm good with numbers. You don't think I know how to add and subtract. Do I know how to talk and sell? I realize all the criticism and I understand it. As a matter of fact, I try to stir it up, and I have since I got here. That's good. Be relevant. It works. I'll never get rid of this quote because I think it was the one time where he kind of said the quiet part out loud and let it slip because he got kind of frustrated with everybody. Like, why don't you get this deal done, Jerry? And I think he basically was like, guys, I'm stirring it up, man. This is part of my formula to keeping the Cowboys relevant. This is why we are so valuable. This is why we are the number one TV star on the number one TV show. I'm the best publicist and promoter in all of major American team sports, guys. I'm the one who keeps us relevant. It's me, actually. It ain't actually Dak. It ain't. Those are some of the elements. Yeah, that's part of the cast. But I'm the director. I'm the head writer of this damn thing. And it's more like a reality TV show than it is actually a TV show. But you get my point. But he said it there. He literally said, "Now I like to stir it up." So I almost wondered, like, he's like, "No, I'm gonna get the deal done. I got the number, and I know the number he wants, and I can meet it anytime I want to." But right now, let's just let the drama build, and let's just milk it for the free media and as much as we can. I used to think there's no way Jerry Jones would do stuff like that. And now, actually, I've been covering him long enough so I believe, yeah, he would do it. Is he going to get CeeDee Lamb's deal done? Yeah. But is he going to milk it for all the free media possibly? Yeah. Is it going to cost him more money? Yeah. Is it a bad way of doing football business? Yeah. Is it a great way of promoting his brand? Yeah. Like, all things can be true. And I think they are. Because we cannot figure out a way as why it's taking so long. We cannot figure out a reason.
Yeah.
But nobody can.
I think that's partially true, and that's partially him doing the thing where he can deflect and go, man, no, that's just me being crazy. You're like, no, you're doing bad business, Jerry. And he goes, no, it's not that I messed up, even though I clearly messed up. But if I say that I didn't mess up, then I didn't mess up. And you're like, no, Jerry, you messed up. You know you did, but now you have to say your only out is, man, isn't it? Aren't I crazy?
Yeah, I'm wacky. I'm wild. I'm eccentric. I'm a genius. Yeah, no, maybe you're right about that. You could be right. It could be deflect. It could be that, which also is a bit genius. Like, if he's like deflecting that, that his. But I don't know what to say. The bad business to me, like it. I don't know. Like at this point, like I said, it doesn't make sense as to why we are still in this stalemate. Even if CeeDee Lamb wants top of the market money, you just pay him top. You pay him. I mean, you can't. If this goes into the season, it's either going to prove CeeDee Lamb right or it's going to prove CeeDee Lamb wrong. And I don't think anybody expects his offense to go out there and be just as good, if not better, than it was last year without CeeDee Lamb and with the running game being what it is. Look at you about to laugh right now. So if CeeDee Lamb does his thing, he's going to get. If it goes into the season, he's going to get his money anyway because it'll be proven to everybody how bad the offense is going to be without CeeDee.
Yeah, they asked Dak after his media, and Jerry said that there's no urgency, and he said, I have urgency about it.
Yeah.
Because Dak realizes, he's like, I'm screwed if Brandon Cooks is my 1 and Jalen Tolbert's my 2.
John Machota put out the quote via Twitter. CeeDee Lamb responded at _CD3 with LOL dot. When the quote was, I don't have any urgency to get it done, in response to, do you have urgency about the CeeDee Lamb contract status? And then CeeDee Lamb's response was, LOL. Micah Parsons, he reposted that on his Twitter. And then, yes, you have the response that Patrick just mentioned, because Dak was asked about it after that, after Dak had a media availability. And Dak, I believe, before the question was asked, he said, he was like, I know y'all want to ask. I got urgency for it to happen. He said via Nick Harris on the team website.
Yeah.
It's a proper circus. It
No,
is.
it is.
It's entertaining though. It is. It's entertaining.
No, I
I
mean,
think the deal gets done. I just think I think Jerry likes the drama.
do you think
The
there's
deal
a
gets
point?
done, but
Do
he
you
likes
think
the
there's a
drama.
point where Jerry is trying to double dip and he thinks he's a genius because he's going to have CD miss the first couple games of the season, have Dak be very bad in those first couple games because he's got no wide receivers, and then go back to Dak and say, "Well, you want all this money, you can't win without that," and then try and lowball both of them because neither one of them are any good without each other.
I'm not putting anything past Jerry. He could easily go that route. If he wants to go that route, he could. But then how is he? He's still going to end up paying CD the money then, right? Or is he going to decide he's going to trade CD?
At this point, I have no idea if Jerry's saying any of this or if Jerry is literally just buying time until it all blows up.
My thing is this: when will it get to the point where CD will request a trade?
I don't know.
If it goes into the season, would he request a trade? If it goes if you go game 1 and they still don't have it done, do you think?
I'm assuming by his tweet yesterday that the conversation has been broached with his agent. That would be my guess.
You have to, right? At this point, you have to. If he's saying stuff like that, you're like, what's wrong with this dude? Why is he saying that? Yeah. I think, like I said, I think that's going to be the next leaf to fall, I guess, to get a Jerry Jones reference. I think that's the next leaf to fall is that just like Brandon Ayuk, he requests a trade. And maybe when he requests a trade, then maybe that's the sense of urgency that incentivizes Jerry Jones. All right, I got to get it done. Because right now, like I said, they don't seem like they're very close.
No, none of those deals. Like, it doesn't even feel like they're talking to Micah yet. And
they don't need to.
Because you can't if you're already you're hung up in these other two. You have no idea what your salary cap is. You have no idea what you're doing. So I mean, it just doesn't feel. It feels like there's some master plan in Jerry's head that he's going to spin all of this and it's going to end up perfectly. But it doesn't feel like.
I still can't. Yeah, I'm with you. I can't rationalize it. Like, I don't know what it is. And maybe you're right. Maybe it's to devalue both of them. But then I think ultimately if you devalue both of them in that way by letting it go into the season, Dak plays bad without CD. CD's not playing. And then what do you say? Okay, so I've proven that Dak is not worth it. Then what are you going to do? Dak's still going to want his money. Then Dak's going to hit free agency. And then you don't get anything for Dak.
Yeah, I mean,
right? That's bad business.
Tell me if this doesn't make sense to you. If you're Dak and you say I'm not going to get my money, or if this team doesn't make sense of someone who would look to pay a lot of money for Dak Prescott, that the Giants would say we can get out of the Daniel Jones contract, but we have a coach who we may not be firing yet, but he's got to get somebody now and doesn't have really time to build a rookie. We're not going to have that. We don't have that class. But we can add him in. We've already got Malik Neighbors as our number one. That'll be our guy ready to go next season. We can start adding in other pieces, and we can be competitive right away. Plus, he knows this division. Plus, we can go in, and he's killed us over and over again as the Giants. So we can go in and take this guy in. We'll pay him because we're the Giants. It's one of the other markets where, yes, you're going to pay taxes, but if you want to talk about being on the mainstream, you're in the New York media market now.
You're making up an endorsement money.
I just think that's a team that would be willing to offer him a lot of money, and Brian Daboll could be salivating at getting a guy like Dak Prescott.
Yep. Nope, you're right about that. Vegas is another place.
Vegas is another place.
Hey man, we need a name. We're in Vegas.
But the Giants were willing to pay Daniel Jones $40-something million.
Dude. Matter of fact, that's a perfect segue. Actually, I'm glad you didn't brought that up. No, it is because Mina Kimes, she was asked about Dak Prescott's situation. We've talked about CD Lamb. We don't know when the CD deal is going to get done, but they got to get the Dak deal done too. And there's some people that don't believe Dak is going to get that 60-something million. I hope it's not the Cowboys because maybe that's what's holding it up. Because we've heard Stephen Jones mention that $55 million kind of right now. That seems to be the cap because you've got 3 quarterbacks all locked in there. Dak's going to get 60, upwards of 60 million. Remember, Adam Schefter said he's going to get north of 60 million. Louis Riddick says north of 60 million. Here's what Mina Kimes has to say.
Are we overestimating the market for Dak Prescott?
No, we're not. When he signs a contract, I expect it, frankly, to start with the number 6. I guess we'll start with the Lamar Jackson point. Lamar wasn't an unrestricted free agent, and I think that heavily impacted his market out there. Teams knowing that the Ravens had the ability to match that contract and the draft capital that was involved, it was a different scenario from what we would be seeing with Dak Prescott, which is much more analogous to Kirk Cousins, who's really the only comparable quarterback who actually hit free agency. And Kirk Cousins, worse quarterback than Dak Prescott, feel pretty comfortable saying that, 36 years old soon, coming off of a torn Achilles, going into a free agency, a draft, by the way, that was one of the best quarterback drafts we've seen in years. That proved to be the case, how many were taken the first round. And he still found a team that gave him $45 million a year. You don't think Dak Prescott, who is 31, is coming off a year he was an MVP candidate, top 3 in just about every metric, is going to top that significantly, especially given, by the way, that the draft next year at this point doesn't look close to what we're seeing this year, which basically means there will be more buyers for his services. If Dak tests free agency, he is going to get paid an ungodly amount of money. Whether or not you agree with that, that's a different conversation. I'm just telling you it's going to happen.
Boom. And that's why if the Cowboys, you don't want him to start thinking about testing free agency. If he starts thinking about it, it may become more appealing to him by the day.
And that's what we're saying, though. We know Dak Prescott's thought about it now because he has to have. And we know CeeDee Lamb's thought about requesting a trade because he has to have. Now, both those guys can be talked back off a ledge, but you put them on the ledge.
I agree.
Because your attitude has been so cavalier of these guys do not deserve the amount of money they're asking for. I am not justifying this, and I'm not going to justify that I'm even worried about not signing because those guys aren't good enough to go anywhere else. They're going to come and be a Cowboy. That is what Jerry Jones' attitude has been.
Seems like it.
His attitude has not been, I'm worried about CeeDee Lamb leaving. What a great player, and he's meant so much to our team. His attitude's been, we'll get it done. Where else is he going to go?
Pretty much. Like that wouldn't be a market for him. It's like, no, that'd be a huge market for CeeDee Lamb. I said, I don't know. Like, but still, why is it taking this long? Cowboys, remember, I gave this stat, and I'll give it again. Prior to this offseason, just one wide receiver making $30 million a year. Now you got how many? 4. There's going to be 5 going on. I think 5 once Brandon Ayuk gets his deal. And we know that CD's asking for that money. He's going to get 6. If you just acted before this offseason, you could have saved yourself a lot of money.
Yeah.
Prior to this offseason, 0 receivers had $75 million guaranteed. Now 4 receivers have at least $75 million guaranteed. Come on, Jerry. I don't know what you're waiting on, man. That's just bad business.
Yeah.
Bad
and if your
business.
thing is we're going to be on Sports Center more and we'll be on Fox Sports, they'll talk. They were going to talk about you anyway. You can manufacture other stories.
I said that's just a theory. I don't know why. Like I said, I got that quote, and that quote is basically he's telling you, yes, I do stir it up. I don't know how much of that is affecting the football business, but I know it affects it somewhat.
It does. Like if you're saying you're doing this to stir it up, then you are paying a lot of money to do it because you've relatively at least spent $15 to $20 million to do it already because that's how much the price has gone up. So to be on all those, you could have just bought ads. It would have been cheaper.
It ain't the same though. It's a TV show. I need drama. See,
Drama.
that's what you don't realize. So I see you different. No. You're talking about just promotion and publicity. No.
Sign Antonio Brown for $2 million and then cut him. It's the same concept.
It's a TV show, man. It's a TV show. And you need drama. People don't realize about the NFL. The NFL is all about the drama because it is a television show. You need storylines and conflict. Create storylines, right?
Yeah.
Conflict. So you need some type of conflict. And he keeps the conflict going. Like I said, people are like, oh, you should just put the brand up on some ads more. Like that's not the genius of being a promoter, though. The genius of promoting is coming up with a storyline every time. Tickling your fancy with a little storyline. And nobody does it better than Jerry Jones. He got 3 of them working over there right now. He got like 4, 5 storylines working right now.
He doesn't.
We didn't talk about Mike McCarthy as a lame duck coach. We didn't get into that.
They are expensive storylines, man. They are expensive.
But what's the most valuable franchise in all of American sports?
I don't know if it's the Cowboys anymore. It was, but I think they announced
the
two.
Cowboys.
Are they still number one?
It's
I know
the
I know they've gone up and down now some because there's other.
It's the Cowboys. It's the Cowboys. That's what I'm saying. Like it works for them. It works. It works, man. Like I don't say I agree with it, but I think for Jerry Jones, he knows it works, and they don't spend a lot of cash, so they like to keep their cash too. All right, so there you go. There's some Cowboys discussion. All right, and if CeeDee Lamb requests a trade, I do want to know why some team doesn't just call Jerry Jones and offer to trade for CD and see what he says. Right, just call him and offer to trade for CD, offer him a first and a third, see what he says. See if he'll give him up for a first and a third. Chiefs, Tyreek Hill went for what? A first, like you said, first, second, 2 fourths, and a sixth. First and a third, and see if he throws out there if he's open to it. Because right now it's like I said, it's a mess. The guy was right now. It's a mess. Maybe it's a beautiful mess. That's why Jerry Jones likes it so much. All right, we come back. We'll get into Raj Ramp, but it'll basically be us talking about the preseason game last night, games last night, and the preseason game tonight. You have the Texans versus the Steelers. A lot of storylines in that game as well. Justin Fields with kind of an open audition at the quarterback position. CJ Stroud, I believe, is going to play a couple of series, is what D'Amico Ryan said. So we'll get into that. And the Steelers, I mean, everything's going quiet. Crickets on this Brandon Ayuk thing. It was all hype, and it was happening, and teams were in it, and teams were out of it, and now it's gone quiet. Something's weird happening with this Brandon Ayuk. Can we agree? There's something we don't know. There's something we'll find out later on. Something's happening. Yeah. Like, this doesn't make sense, really. Does he want out, or does he? Does he want to stay? I don't know. I don't really know what's going on now. We'll try to make some sense of what's happening with the Brandon Ayuk story as well. All of that and more when we return right here on the Rodcast, featuring Patrick Davis on Lifetime Longhorn. Rod Babers coming back on the horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let's talk about my friend and my dentist, Dr. Greg Eckert, and his all-star team. I owe them a huge debt of gratitude. I initially went there just for a routine cleaning and a checkup. While they were being very thorough with that checkup, they found that my wisdom teeth were growing in sideways, and they said basically I was on the verge of it being a pretty much a disastrous situation there. So they acted quickly, made sure I was comfortable and knowledgeable, well informed about the process, got the procedure scheduled, got it done. I was back at work within a couple of days, and thanks to Dr. Ecker and his team, my dental health and dental hygiene have never been better. He's a great dentist. Anytime somebody asks me if I know a good dentist, I say, no, I know a great dentist. I know the best dentist in Austin, Dr. Ecker. So it doesn't matter if it's something routine or something relatively simple, like a cleaning or just a checkup, or if it's something a little more complicated, like getting all your wisdom teeth removed. Hopefully that's not the case for you, but any general dentistry, teeth whitening, dentures, porcelain crowns, veneers, dental implants, full mouth reconstruction, even root canal therapy, whatever it takes to ensure you're getting the best quality dental care available. That's what Dr. Eck and his team are all about. As a matter of fact, the last time I went, this is the true story. I actually fell asleep in the chair while I was getting the filling. That's something that I never thought I'd be able to do. That's how relaxed I was. And I wasn't, drugged up or anything. I just fell asleep. I was very relaxed there at Dr. Eckert's office. They will make sure that if you have dental anxiety, which I have a little bit of, they can put you at ease. They specialize in easing dental anxiety. Also specialize in giving folks like you a brand new smile. They can give you a brand new smile in just one day, permanently secured to your dental implants. No time spent without teeth. You'll get temporary fixtures until they complete your permanent smile, but you'll smile again with confidence and eat freely without pain or discomfort. So we're talking about a lifelike permanent solution. So if you've been told your teeth need to be replaced, or you need dentures, or you already have dentures, this is a revolutionary alternative to dentures. So he can give you a brand new smile in just one day. I know it sounds too good to be true. It's not. It's just Dr. U. It's a complimentary consultation, which means you got nothing to lose, but you have so much to gain, because a confident smile can truly change your life. And Dr. U wants to change your life for the better. So give him a call, 512-345-3166. That's 512-345-3166, or visit dreckert.com, drueckert.com. All right, welcome back to the Rodcast. Time to get into Rod's rant of the day. Got a couple of items I want to get to. So yesterday you had two preseason games. That makes three total if you include the Hall of Fame game. So I've been trying to keep track of the new kickoff returns. So the initial goal of the new kickoff return rules is just to resuscitate a dead play, right? That they basically had decided that because of touchbacks and the high touchback rate, that the kickoff was a dead play and nobody paid attention to it. So I would say that they accomplished their goal of eliminating touchbacks. You only had one touchback, I believe, of the 17, I believe of the 18 kickoff return opportunities. You've had one touchback, but you've had 17 kickoff returns, an average of a little under 24 yards per kickoff return. So not necessarily I don't think that's a big number. I think they expect that number to increase the more skill you get on the kickoff return, and the better teams get at overall executing whatever the new strategy is on kickoff returns with the new rules. You've had 5 penalties, illegal formation twice, illegal use of hands, kicking short of the landing zone, holding. So you've had 5 penalties on those kickoff returns. So probably it's just teams getting used to the new dynamic of it and the new alignment and all that kind of stuff. So that's probably going to take a while. But once teams, I think, start to perfect their own system or their own strategy with the kickoff, and you'll have more skilled players on the kickoff because right now, of course, you have guys jabronis like Rod B who are probably going to end up cut, or who guys who are barely scraping by trying to make a team on special teams during the season. That'll be more skilled players, so more skilled players with more practice at it, of course, because they'll have I think by mid-season, I think a lot of these guys will now have gotten accustomed to it and acclimated to the new rules of the kickoff. So I think they'll improve in terms of execution. It'll improve because you have better personnel. And I think the kickoff returners, I think those are going to be situationally, depending on if it's, game on the line, or trying to set a team up for a good field position for a 2-minute drill late in the half or late in the game. You could get, I'm talking about players like Tyreek Hill, big time, big money playmakers, wide receiver ones, elite running backs. You could get some of the best athletes on the team back there to return kickoffs. Just, like I said, not all the time, but I do think you may get more of that situationally. So the longest kickoff returns you've had are 29 and 31 yards. So haven't gotten the return that you would have wanted, or at least the average on the yards per kickoff return that you would want. I think that gets better, but their ultimate goal was just no touchbacks, and they're not getting touchbacks. So it works in that regard. Still haven't had the exciting, thrilling kickoff return that you want just yet.
But again, that's going to come more in when the games matter. There's not. I mean, as much as it is, there hasn't been that exciting, thrilling. You're like, there could have been 5 90-yard returns, and none of them would have been that thrilling because it would have been a bunch of players you've never heard of before.
Yeah, that's true. No, you're right. I agree with you. I mean, most of these guys you're saying are not even going to be on the team.
Yeah.
And as I said, they'll put an elite athlete. They'll probably have their designated returner. Like I said, Keelan Robinson was drafted, I think, for this specific purpose. So he'll be one of the guys back there, and he's one of the best. He was the best kickoff returner in that draft class. So and that thing, like I said, at one point, I wouldn't doubt if you got a team like Miami and they're getting ready for a 2-minute situation late in the half, late in the game, they'll put a Jalen Waddle back there or a Tyreek Hill back there. They got so much speed, they probably don't need to. They got speed everywhere, but I think you'll get more of your recognizable, elite, explosive playmakers in the NFL back there just when they really want great field position, because you can get it. I've seen some daylight in some of those kickoff returns that I've watched, that if you have better athletes back there, more explosive athletes, that they'll be able to get through that window. And they could probably break it where obviously the jabronis who are playing now can't do it. And so I still think it's good. You just haven't gotten these. You've only had 3 games. It's a smaller sample size. So get through the preseason and see where you are. But I think ultimately still better than touchbacks. I mean, got to admit that. Way better. And it's less. I haven't seen any really violent collisions either. There are collisions, but they're definitely not as violent as they used to be. I mean, you see guys getting taken out on the kickoff at like every different level. You don't see that anymore. All right, so there you go. There's kickoff returns. That's my kind of summary of it. Let's get to some Texans Steelers talk. This game is going to be interesting because we heard from Mike Tomlin yesterday. There's a good chance that if Justin Fields has a really impressive performance, that he could surpass Russell Wilson on the depth chart. Not right. I don't think immediately, but I think right now the unofficial depth chart for the Steelers has Russell Wilson as the starter, and Mike Tomlin said that is the case. This is not something that he did not approve. He says that Russell Wilson is indeed the starter, but he also admitted that reps in preseason games matter more than practice reps. So if Justin Fields goes out there and looks good, then Justin Fields potentially could gain some ground in that quarterback competition. I think ultimately, I don't think either one of these guys is winning the competition. I think a coach wants a quarterback to make his job really easy, where he doesn't even have to name a starter. It's just understood, and it is everybody knows based on what they've seen and what they've observed that this guy is better than that guy, and he's the starter. But I think where it's working out right now, Mike Tomlin's having to declare a starter because there's not a lot of separation between the two. And no coach wants to do that. A coach would rather it naturally that the locker room and the organization, whether it be your assistant coaches, that they naturally, I always say a quarterback competition like an election, that they vote and they choose this guy as our quarterback. And I think right now with the Steelers, I don't know if that's happening. So he's designating this guy be the starter and Russell Wilson as your starter. I think Russell Wilson could be, decent, but I know Russell Wilson is past his prime.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Well, and we also know Russell Wilson has not won a locker room over in quite some time.
That is hard to do for Russell. Yes. Especially if you're not balling. Now, if he was balling, it was easy because you're balling. It's like, man, I don't give a. I mean,
he's a little eccentric. He's a little out there, but he's really good. But he's like, he's just eccentric and out there, and he ain't even hitting us right now.
That's what happened in Denver, right? He was like, he wanted his own office and all these little weird, quirky things he were doing. They weren't cute anymore, and they weren't quirky and eccentric. He was like,
you talk about being
this guy's lame. This guy's lame. This guy's a loser.
Yeah,
that's kind of what it went to.
No, he was you talk about game managers and then game executives.
Executives, yeah.
He was like game middle management.
Yeah.
He wanted the corner office and he wanted all that stuff, and he wanted none of the responsibility of it. And
yeah, you're right about that. And,
guys,
he was
6 a.m. Zoom, awesome. Guys. 6 a.m. Zoom. We're gonna do this big. No, what are we doing?
What was his oh man, what was his little saying that he kept doing? Let's ride. Was it Let's Ride?
Broncos country, let's ride.
Yeah, he tried it. So he wanted to make that happen really bad. Like he was trying his best.
And then they had the Subway commercials that were next level. The Danger Witches.
Ooh, that's what? Oh yeah, because his name, he's that's like his nickname, right? Didn't he got like
something? But it was that they were like, it was all that. It was none of it was good.
He was trying to. I think basically everybody realized when he wasn't executing on the field that he was just trying really hard to be liked and accepted. It's like, man, he tries really hard. Then it's like, yeah, Russell Wilson's trying really hard. And that's not, and then it's like, he's pretty inauthentic. In the locker room learns he's disingenuous and inauthentic. Like he's not, that actually is not even the real person that he is.
Yeah.
And nobody knows who Russell Wilson really is. And then the Seahawks guys came out and like, oh yeah, we didn't really like him that much either. But when it was working, we were winning. It's all good.
When they said they had to call his representatives to get a hold of him.
Yeah, to get his number. So he basically got outed. He got outed. And he didn't want people to know that he was disingenuous and inauthentic, and as some people even call him kind of lame or call him kind of an a-hole in the locker room. He didn't want people to know that, and now people knew it. And on top of them knowing it, he could not on the field. He couldn't change the narrative by the way he played on the field. And that, you know what, that happened to Deshaun Watson too. Remember Deshaun Watson when everybody thought that he was, a stand-up citizen, and he was a top 5 quarterback in the league. Everything was golden. It was gravy. And then he was known as obviously someone who's done things that are inappropriate, and he was accused of sexual misconduct and had the civil lawsuits against him and all that kind of stuff. And psychologically, I think him being a villain, he never processed it well. And then of course, his time off affected the way he played on the field. But he's never really psychologically got back into that hero mindset.
Yeah.
He was the hero. Everybody would look to him to be the hero, which he had always been his entire career. In high school, state championships, in college, and then now to be a villain, it is a different mindset to kind of have to be the guy that nobody likes, that everybody dislikes, and still go out there and perform. You gotta have a certain, you got to be like Money Mayweather. Like everybody hates me. It's okay. I'm still gonna go out there and do my thing. It's like, but you're hated and despised. People think you're disgusting. It's like, all right, it's all right. That drives me. It's like, oh, really? And as LeBron didn't like it either. And he's like, you know what? I'm great. I got to deal with it. People hate me. They're gonna hate me.
Yeah.
He didn't want to be a villain. He was like an unintentional villain. And then he realized, like, why does everybody hate me? It's like, well, LeBron, you do some things that it makes you very hateable. It makes you easy to hate sometimes. And he didn't realize that. It's like that Seinfeld episode where his mom's like, how can they not like you? Everybody likes you. It's like, some people don't like him. I can see why people don't like him. It's like, but some people, they don't, for them psychologically to process being disliked or hated.
Yeah.
It's tough and it affects them.
I'm doing all the things it told me to do in this book.
Yes. And that's Russell Wilson. He's like, I think it really has hit him hard for that to know, like, okay, most people don't like you now, Russell. He's like, really? And he hasn't made it a process as well. I can't give you a Steelers stat real quick before we get to the break here. How about this about the Steelers? The last 2 years, if you go look at it, the Steelers in one. This is actually last year. The Steelers were 9-2 in one-score games last year. Best in the NFL. Isn't that crazy? The Steelers are 34-11 in one-score games since 2020. Best in the NFL. Best record in the NFL by far since 2020 in one-score games. That's how you know Tomlin's a hell of a coach. Because they haven't Kenny Pickett was their quarterback when they were winning some of those one-score games. And now the last, and I'll give these stats to you here real quick, and we'll go to break. The last 2 years, if you look at second half dropbacks, Russell Wilson's success rate, he's 30th out of 32 qualifying quarterbacks. Justin Fields, 32 out of 32 starting quarterbacks. A sack rate in the second half dropbacks, more of the game on the line. Sack rate for Justin Fields, he's 30th out of 32 qualifying quarterbacks. Russell Wilson, 31st out of 32 qualifying quarterbacks in the last 2 years. I don't know. It ain't looking good going forward for either one of those guys in this Pittsburgh. Steelers gonna need another quarterback. Is my point. These guys are not the answer.
No,
Nobody wants to tell Mike Tomlin that these guys are not your answer, man. You're hoping that they save the day for you. They're not. They're not. I guarantee you they're not.
no.
Neither
That's
one.
why he's hoping that one of them goes out there and it clicks in one of their heads and they figure out how to do it. But I think they're both expecting to be like, no, one day someone's going to tell me how to do this right, and then I'm just like, no, you got to figure this out. You got to be the guy. You have to be the one that figures out how to get this locker room and how to start winning games. But I mean, it'll be a big, if Justin Fields comes out and at least moves the ball down the field a little bit today in preseason, that at least gives you a little bit of hope that maybe there's something different and maybe it wasn't him all the way. But
yeah, I agree. That's what everybody wants to see. Signs of promise,
yes,
right? To be optimistic. But right now, I'm not. I think they're still going to need a quarterback. But just giving you stats to let you know, Mike Tomlin's a hell of a coach, man. He just needs a quarterback with him. All right, we come back. We'll get into what the stats. We'll have some NFL stats and some Olympic stats on the other side, right here on the Rodcast, featuring Patrick Davis and Lifetime Lohan. Rod Babers coming back on the horn. All right, welcome back to the Rodcast. We were just talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers and how good of a coach Mike Tomlin is, and he's never had a losing season in the NFL, but right now having a hard time, coming across playoff wins. Got to find a quarterback. That's what this Justin Fields audition is about. But it's going to be him or Russell Wilson, and I don't have faith for either one of those guys. But I will say, and I gave this stat earlier about how clutch basically the Pittsburgh Steelers are or have been in one-score games. Don't forget Kenny Pickett. Because of that, Kenny Pickett, if you go look at career records and winning percentage in fourth quarter comebacks / game winning drives, because of Mike Tomlin's competence in those types of games, he has a 60% winning percentage in fourth quarter comeback opportunities and a 63% win percentage in fourth quarter comeback / game winning drive opportunities. It actually is higher than Patrick Mahomes' winning percentage in those situations, but it ain't got nothing to do with Kenny Pickett. It's got less to do with Kenny Pickett and more about, like I said, how good of a coach Mike Tomlin is. And by the way, it's in that division. And I'll give you another stat about that division. By the way, Kenny Pickett, the first 2 seasons, touchdown interception ratio tied for the worst. Yards per attempt was 40th in the NFL. At teams points per game, he was, in terms of him, 16.8. Like, that's how bad Kenny Pickett was. And yet, like I told you, the Steelers were extremely clutch. 9-2 in one-score games last season. They've been 34-11 in one-score games since 2020. Like I said, that in that division, by the way, I give you a stat about that division since we're what the facts and what the stats here. There have only been only divisions in NFL history to have all winning teams. 1935 West Division and the 2023 AFC North. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Like, that's just like it really is like that. That's how the division is tough. And like I said, if Tomlin just finds himself a quarterback, it ain't gonna be Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, in my opinion. But they are getting them for cheap. How about this? I'm giving stats about the Pittsburgh Steelers. I was just doing research on them because of the preseason game. If you look at what the Steelers rank in terms of cash spending, remember I told you cash is king. The rest of that funny money, that's a fugazi, a wowsy, a woozy, don't matter. Cash is what matters. Cash is king. Here's where the Steelers rank in terms of cash spending by position in for their passing game. Quarterback 30th, wide receiver 31st, tight end 26th, O-line 23rd. Nobody spends money on running back, so it doesn't matter. Nobody. 49ers do. They get, Christian McCaffrey gets paid like $19 million, but they're not spending any money on offense, at least on the passing game. So I mean, that's what the Brandon Ayuk thinks about. Remember, we tried this very unstealer like. Maybe they're like, dude, we got to start spending some money. With 31st in wide receiver spending cash spending at the wide receiver position. 31st.
And we don't want to sign it. We don't want to pay Pickens, so we've got to get somebody.
That's amazing. Yeah. All right. So there you go. That's some what the facts. Oh, another factoid here, since we're getting into what the facts, what the stats. Here's the last one I got for you. The Olympics. I want to give you an Olympic stat. Texas lifetime Longhorns, current and former, now up to 15 medals for the University of Texas. 15 medals, 6 gold, 6 silver, 3 bronze. Pretty damn good, pretty impressive. And I believe all the athletes are, well, no, because KD. So KD's still out there. Yeah. Most of the athletes are done, though, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know all of them, but I believe most of them, because of track and field was a lot of swimming. Is swimming done? Swimming and diving?
I think they're still diving.
Oh, so man, actually, we may have. I don't know. We may have a couple of divers.
Yeah, we may still have somebody in track and field. Could have somebody still out there.
Okay, there you go. So 15 medals for for lifetime Longhorns representing Team USA in the Olympics. All right, we come back. We'll get into some Texas football discussion. Go behind the burners curtain. We'll hear from T. Sarkisian. Speaking of Team USA men's basketball, they had a dramatic win after being down 15 points to Serbia. We'll get into it and talk about that a little bit as well on the other side, and also other news, notes, and nuggets from the day right here on the Rodcast featuring Patrick Davis. I'm lifetime Longhorn Rod Davis coming back on the horn. Welcome back to the Rodcast. It is a freak flag, feel good, fake it till you make it. Ric Flair, woo! 512 Football Friday edition of the Rodcast. 512 Friday is when my man Patrick, my co-host, the Idillionaire, he plays jams from local bands and artists, very talented human beings that you have a chance to catch live right here in the ATX. This guy's good energy right here, man. It's good. I like this. Who this?
This is Guy Forsyth. He is playing this afternoon at the Bullock, Texas State Historical Museum, doing a little Museum Under the Stars performance starting at 6 p.m. today, and then it'll be Friday today, and then pushing and then have some good music. South Austin Moonlighters also in the bill. It'll be a fun show out there.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's nice energy. What's the name of the song? Faith?
Yes.
This sounds like that. All right. No, it's a good song. I like that. Like the energy there. All right. Appreciate my man Patrick on the 512 Friday. Also, we got the topic for the big fat poll of the day. Don't forget about that. Patrick also comes up with that. Give the folks the topic for the big fat poll of the day.
Big fat poll of the day today is which Cowboy are you most interested in watching in the preseason? Starting off today.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean Trey Lance has got to be at the top of the list. I think you're right about that.
Yeah, I think Trey's up there. Yeah, but Trey's I think some people are going to want to see Overshawn too.
Yeah, I want to see. Yeah, of course, Longhorns fans want to see Overshawn. We get that. Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Overshawn's going to be a big part of that. I mean, I heard he's having a really good camp, but when they released the unofficial depth chart, I believe Maurice Lafau was the starting linebacker, and he was behind Maurice Lafau. Doesn't necessarily mean anything. The competition's not over, but I do wonder if Maurice Lafau, just because he not only didn't have the injury that Marvin Overshawn did, he had a huge setback last season. So I don't even know if he is fully kind of back to 100% because of the injury. But also, he was a Dan Quinn pick, and I think he just fit Dan Quinn's system. He was more compatible with Dan Quinn's system because Dan Quinn loved hybrid athletes, loved hybrids, and he wanted guys who essentially, like DeMarvin Overshawn, who were a linebacker with a DB skill set, who could run, comfortable in space, spread babies. He loved guys like that. You know, he loved J-Ron Kurtz for the same reason, and Micah being a hybrid, and Maurice Lafau was drafted to play more in a traditional defense like Mike Zimmer's, as opposed to DeMarvin Overshawn and him being drafted for a hybridized style of a defense. Not saying that it won't translate for him, and I think it will translate for DeMarvin Overshawn because they really liked him last year, but Dan Quinn's system last year, the system he was drafted to play in, that's why everybody loved the way he looked in a sense. He looked comfortable. Yeah, because it was more compatibility, I think, was a huge factor, and it's a factor now, but I don't know if it's working for DeMarvin Overshawn like it was last season. Now you got the injury and that, so I think that's maybe why he is behind and second string right now on that unofficial depth chart. But I think he can make a move pretty easily because the linebackers right now, Damone Clark was a starter from last year, and you brought in Eric Kendrick. Those are your two linebackers, and the truth is you're probably only gonna now Zimmer will play more 40 personnel than Dan Quinn was a sub package guy. Played more 3 safeties than anybody in the NFL. Loved dime coverage, so he was playing dime at probably a top 6-7 rate in the league. You go look at their rate of dime coverage. That's 6 DBs on the field. So he loved sub packages. He loved hybrids. Mike Zimmer actually will lean more toward 40 personnel if he has to match up because he's just more traditional in that sense. So you won't get a power package for a team of 12 personnel or them 21 personnel being matched up against a sub package like you will with Dan Quinn. But I think ultimately for DeMarvin Overshawn, to get in that rotation of the top 4, because Eric Kendrick and Damone Clark will be your top 2, and they'll go nickel most of the time. That's 5 DBs. You only have 2 linebackers out there, unless they want to go 3-3-5, which I don't know if the Cowboys will, because you want Micah and DeMarcus Lawrence on the field at the same time with your 2 D tackles. That's Zimmer's system, is 4 down linemen. So you're going to be 4-2-5. So it's going to be 2 linebackers. So you want to be in that rotation of 4. If you get outside that top 4, then you're not going to be in the rotation. And that, I think, Forward Marshall, that would be regression. But I think he's in a good place right now. All right, so that'll be the question for the top for the Big Fat Fold today. What Cowboys do you want to see most in the preseason? That could be good. I want to see how. I don't even know if Trevon Diggs will play, but coming off the injury, we want to see Trevon Diggs a little bit. I heard he looks good in training camp, but I mean, you forget that they didn't have him last year at all because Deron Bland played so well. So don't forget about that too. And it's always good. I think I also would like to see the offensive line because I don't know how much Tyler Guyton is going to play in Cooper Beebe.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
Those guys, is he going to play center in the game? If he's going to play center, I want to see him.
Cooper Beebe at center.
Yeah, because
he's listed as number 2 on the depth chart on that center.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the future center for them. They want him to supplant. I forgot who they have as the starter right now, but they want him to be the guy. He just didn't play center in college.
Yeah,
he's got the acumen for it. And he's got the skill set. Just didn't play center. So I would like to see him play center because that would be the first time he's played center really. In an NFL game. That'd be interesting. And I guess you get to see the rookie Tyler Guyton.
Yeah, probably get to see him out there at left tackle some too.
Yeah, I want to see those guys a little bit. That'd be fun to watch. And I'm trying to think of what else.
See if those guys play with Trey Lance some.
Oh yeah. You know what? That would be pretty good actually. If he rolls with the second team, and that's your second group, that wouldn't be bad. And then one of his Schoonmaker is going to be with the second group.
Put Schoonmaker out there.
I don't know if he's playing because he had like a groin injury or something.
Put all the Jalen's out there. and then just mess with him. Throw the ball to Jalen. Throw the which one?
Which one? And then you, like you said, then you probably get Deuce out there then maybe with that group too.
No, Deuce is 5th string.
Yeah, but
I mean, he may be.
You're not gonna play Zeke.
You're definitely not playing Zeke. You're probably not playing Dottle either.
So my point is, he kind of moves up a little bit.
And I think Royce Hampton's hurt. So so he's 2nd string because he's 4th string. So he's 5th string. Malik Davis is 1st string.
So I was like, I think it might be an interesting group. Is my point.
Yeah,
so we'll see how it works out. So good question for the top for the Big Fat Poll today. All right, we'll get into Team USA and their thrilling, dramatic win over Serbia. We'll talk about and hear from Steph Curry and hear from KD a little bit, and then we'll get to Steve Sarkisian's media availability, addressing the media for the first time since the CJ Baxter news broke. If we can't get to all of the Steve Sarkisian audio, of course, we'll continue it when we go behind the burnt orange curtain. But first, before we do that, let's get updated. Let's get informed. Let's get educated on all the top stories of the day with Patrick Davis and the Horn Headlines.
All right, your Horn Headlines brought to you by Top Gun Rentals and Lawn Equipment. In the MLB, the Astros begin their series with the Red Sox tonight, sending Roniel Blanco to the mound, looking for his 10th win on the season. They will go up against Tanner Hook, who is 8-8 this season with a 3.09 ERA, and a Red Sox team fighting for a wild card spot in the very competitive AL East. The Rangers start their series with the Yankees, who will start Carlos Rodon in New York tonight. Cody Bradford gets a call for the Rangers in his 3rd appearance returning from injury. Bradford hasn't pitched more than 4 innings since his return and allowed 8 runs in those outings. In NFL preseason action last night, the Patriots defeated the Panthers 17-3 with Carolina only able to pick up 151 yards in the game. And second-year running back Eric Gray scored both of the Giants' touchdowns in a 14-3 win over the Lions, adding 52 yards on the ground and 46 yards receiving. Tonight, the Texans and Steelers face off with the Texans expected to play their starters for a few series, while Pittsburgh will start Justin Fields, who is in a competition with Russell Wilson for the starting job. However, Wilson will not play in the game. Also facing off tonight includes games from the Falcons and the Dolphins, and the Eagles taking on the Ravens. And Team USA basketball survived a real scare from Serbia in the semifinals, coming back from down 13 in the final seconds of the third quarter to win 95-91. Steph Curry had a historic performance, putting up 36 points, shooting 9 for 14 from 3. Big plays by Joel Embiid, Kevin Durant, and LeBron James led USA back to tie the game with 3:43 left and take the lead for good just over a minute later on a Curry 3. USA will now take on France in the gold medal game Saturday at 2:30 p.m. And looking over at our official medal count in the Olympics with only a couple days left to go, U.S. and China are currently tied at 30 apiece in the gold. U.S. still has the advantage, and silvers with 38, bronze with 35, and the total medal count with 103. And that is your Horn Headlines.
Thank you, Patrick, for the horn headlines. We appreciate those. All right, let's talk about some Team USA basketball because it was a dramatic win. There are some people saying this may have been, the greatest, one of the greatest performances, if not the greatest performance by Team USA in Olympic competition in terms of the men's basketball team, only because it was so dramatic. We just don't really see dramatic finishes by Team USA. It never happened. You're right about that. That just doesn't. I mean, we didn't expect this one. They were a 16-point favorite in this matchup versus Serbia.
Had already beat them twice by 26 in the last few weeks.
Found themselves, Patrick, down by 17 points at one time.
Yep.
I think that's when the Twitter sphere, that's when the Twitterverse went crazy. And that's when it came across my timeline. I was actually doing something else, and I wasn't watching the game live. And then that's when I would love to see the ratings when it got down, because I bet the ratings like just skyrocketed at that point.
Yeah, because you looked at the first half of the game. U.S. was kind of fighting, and they would go back and forth, and then they made a little run near the end of the half, and then Serbia fought it back. But you're still like, well, USA's dominated in the second half of these games against Serbia. So as much as they were playing bad, I think we're like, they're going to respond in the second half. It'll be fine. Yeah. They'll come back. They'll get in there. Gets to the third quarter. USA makes a little bit of a run there in the third quarter. You think, okay, things are about to turn. And Serbia fights it back with their own run to push it back out again. And when that happened, as you're getting near the end of the third quarter and it's going in double digits again and starting to inflate again, you look at it and you go, okay, guys, you're running out of time here. And if they continue to hit threes, because, they came out in the second half, they shot really well in three in the first half. They came out in the second, weren't shooting as well for three. Serbia was. And then they hit some big threes again and started getting left open. And all the problems they had in the first half started to come back in that third quarter. And that's when you start to say, I mean, they're going to lose this, aren't they? They're going to blow the game because they're just going to let it.
Started thinking,
they're going to let it get too late in the game before they react, and they just kept expecting it to be that someone's going to be able to come back and save it, and they were. Yeah. But it was. I mean, when you saw the defensive intensity they had to bring in that last 7 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes, where, and I mean, this is good basketball teams do this all the time, but that's why you don't have 12 stars on a basketball team, because stars don't want to do that. Stars don't want to waste their legs running out and playing against a guy who they could destroy in one-on-one any day of the week, and guarding him, 2 feet outside the 3-point line and fighting through screens and doing all these things that are, they're painful. They're not fun to do. There's really no glory in it, and it's stuff of playing off the ball, staying in defensive stance instead of just kind of putting your hand on a guy and waiting for him to run around. You're staying in defensive stance. You're not letting guys get to their marks. That was a huge part of the comeback. Was Serbia went wherever they wanted to go for basically 3 quarters. And then once it got in the fourth quarter, USA started to dictate where Serbia could go.
Deny them their spots.
They go, we're bigger than you. We're more athletic than you. We can tell you where you're going to go. Yeah. But they just didn't want to do it for several quarters. And I get, that's not how any of these guys normally play basketball.
That's like that. That's like grunt work for them. It's like, no, man.
That's what the guy who's trying to fight to stay in the league is doing. And, those are the 3-and-D guys. That's what they do. And normally you don't have a team you're playing against with 4 or 5 guys who are really, really running around and creating. Normally you have 1 or 2 guys that are doing that in an NBA game. And so it's just the dynamic of FIBA basketball. They don't realize how many of these guys, this is the biggest moment of their careers, and they want to make it this gigantic event. And so they finally got with it there at the end. Were able to put up the effort. And then, offensively, Steph Curry hitting some big shots. Those guys starting to move a little bit better without the basketball, finding each other. You saw the guys start to take over that, they weren't necessarily just trying to push the ball up ahead. Whoever was up there is get the ball in KD's hands, get the ball in Steph Curry's hands, gets the ball in LeBron's hands. And if you get a matchup with Embiid or you get a matchup with Booker, Drew Holiday hit a big wide open 3 late in the game. If you get that matchup you want and you get the wide open shot, take it. But put the ball, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, those guys have been there before. They've been in big moments. They've won big games. Trust them with the ball in their hands. And that's what they started to do at the end of the game. And that's when you saw it turn. And then it was just some big defensive plays, run outs at the end, those layups by Steph Curry and LeBron to keep pushing the lead out. It was a lot of fun to watch at the end.
It really was, and like I said, you had the added element of the drama going into the fourth quarter. Entering, I think they were down 13 entering the fourth quarter, and you can tell Serbia believed they could beat them. Like that, Serbia.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it looked like. That's what I think. Why fans started to freak out, Serbia and how competitive they were getting, and of course they got arguably the best basketball player on the planet in Nikola Jokic, and he's inspiring, of course, because they know if you need a bucket or you need a play, he can get it for you against America's best. So that was, like I said, that was it was thrilling. That was a very dramatic finish, and the guys seemed grateful. Here's Steph Curry. We got this Steph sound here. Here's Steph in the post game, and Steph obviously showed out 36 points, as Patrick mentioned in the Horn headlines. He went off from 3-point range with 9 3-pointers. But here's Steph in the post game talking about his inspiration for that performance.
It's everything I imagined it to be. Obviously, this is my first go around in the Olympics. Knew we were going to get challenged by a great Serbia team, and to have to beat them 3 times this summer was going to be tough. I just kind of got lost in the moment of understanding how big this stage is and what's at stake for this team. And it was special. It was the most fun, I've had in a very long time. And, to dig deep like we did with this group and get a win, special. So I'm kind of basking in that right now. And obviously, we got another tough challenge, France on their home court.
There you go. So that's Steph. And we got some KD sound. We might turn this off or cut this off after a while, but KD, a very relaxed setting, and I don't know how it's going to play because there's a lot of noise and background noise in it. But I just want you to hear how grateful he is in terms of, a lot of people thought, hey, you're a 16-point favorite, and then it ends up coming down to the wire. Probably never should have come down to that. Some people will have that take about Team USA maybe being an underachiever. Although with the win, here's what KD had to say about the win.
Come on, man. How can you not celebrate a win like that? Look at all our families. Look at this. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what this about. You know what I mean? We all come together as one on the other side of the world like this. Start USA chants. Our section starting USA. Man, it's special tonight, man. So we got to celebrate. I'm not going to act like it's not. You know what I mean? I know we want to win the gold, but we got to celebrate the small moments, too. Brings you even closer, right? Guarantee you, everybody here, they'll never forget about this night. Everybody here gonna remember this night for the rest of their lives. That's how special this is.
Yeah, his mom is I think right there next to him too, and he's talking about everybody's families there. So I'm sure all the guys and their families are there. So the guys seem grateful for the win. I'm with you, Pat. I think the shock when the reality sets in, even with the team, that guys, we could lose this damn thing and we're running out of time. And, then that sense of urgency kicks in and the intensity. And then I think the guys realize, man, what a shameful embarrassment that would be. Like you would go down in history. Like you become infamous, that team that loses. And I think they all kind of, all right. And I'm glad Steph stepped up, but you're right. LeBron had a triple-double, I believe.
I mean, and you just saw everybody, and look, there's still some things you need to work on. The turnovers, just not getting too glad with the ball and passing the ball. There was too many times they tried to make this spectacular great passing. Like that's not your regular teammate. So they're not as used to getting that ball in those moments. Make sure it's a good pass. And the other thing is rebounding, man. That rebounding was god awful for a lot of that game. There was one too where the ball bounced out and Durant kind of stole the ball back. But it was another one of just Serbia was just going for the rebounds, and USA was playing like it's NBA basketball and second quarter NBA basketball where, it came out like balls hit the ground and then Serbia got them. You can't let the ball hit the ground.
Junkyard dogs, man.
And so there was too many offensive rebounds allowed by USA, especially in big moments. You have to be able to get those rebounds and get the ball back out and go back down the other court. So you're just making the game so much harder for yourself. And now you're about to play against a France team that, again, you have, if Gobert can stay in the game and then you add him and Wemby, those guys can rebound, those guys can rim protect. So you have to find your way to be able to push around. I think AD and Bam will have good games against those guys. We'll see Embiid if he can step up and play again. He had a good game, has really kind of found himself in that moment. I know there were some people that, there's always a discussion in the season of Embiid versus Jokic, and Jokic just kind of stepped out of some of those games with injuries and doesn't really want to face him in the regular season. And so there was a report beforehand that Embiid was dealing with some ankle soreness before the game. And a lot of people were basically taking that he was going to basically sit out and be the guy to not play this game because it was Jokic. And then to see him have the game he did and fight against him the whole game and really push for him, it was fun to see that.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I agree with that. One of the other storylines coming out of this game, there'll be great storylines about the final too, as well.
Oh yeah,
obviously Paris, the Paris Olympics, and France will be essentially have a home court field and environment there, and Wemby, of course, and and I believe in 2020, Team USA beat France for the gold. So there's some recent history there.
There is. I will say that it's definitely going to be. This is. I don't know the last time USA has been roundly going to get booed and jeered and hated in basketball, because there's other sports that maybe it's not, but like those are the NBA players are stars across the world, and now you're going up and go against France in France. So normally when you get in, I mean, you saw even in that game, people were cheering for US at the end of that game. Because, as much as you see Jokic, you're like, they don't know most of those Serbian players.
You're right.
And so there were people that are just like, I want to see Steph Curry and LeBron and the best players in the world win in a big stage. I'm here for this, to see those players. So normally USA still has fans because they're fans of those players. And then you go now and they may like the players, but it's your home country.
It's the country, yeah.
And it's Wemby, who that's the future of French basketball, and so it'll be interesting to see USA really getting booed, getting not getting playing that true road game for Team USA basketball seems odd, but it'll be a fun thing to watch.
Yeah, that's interesting because I assume the interior defense is going to be on point for France.
You assume
France. So the outside shooting and mid-range shooting for Team USA is going to be really important, and that's something that doesn't always travel well when you're on the road. To your point, I didn't think about that, about the true road environment, but yeah, they don't really play true road environments even in Olympic play, because how often does the host team, the host country, I should say, also make it to the championship game? That doesn't happen very often. I can't think of the last time it's happened in basketball.
So if you say that it'll be an interesting environment, and when you talk, it'll be. And look, again, that's where you look at KD, you look at LeBron, you look at Steph Curry, and you look at those guys as the real veterans who have been there and done that, and kind of lean on them a little bit more of what you got to do. And KD and LeBron, especially in the Olympics, but for Steph as well, of being, running the last dynasty in the NBA. I think you kind of look at those guys and let them lead the way for you, but it's going to be, are the guys, if Tatum plays in this game and plays a little bit more, is he going to be able to, do what he needs to do in the game and be an impact player, play a very heavy and impactful style of defense? Are these guys going to be able to go up against these French players who are going to be going for, who are going to be trying to get, the calls and everything? You're on your home court. Of course, you're going to try and get the calls, and not get frustrated by it. There's just going to be a lot of factors going into it. It'll be fun to see. And then, you get the matchup of Kenny Atkinson is one of the assistant coaches for France. He is the new coach for I can't remember who he just signed with. Cleveland. He's the new head coach of the Cavaliers, but he was an assistant coach for Golden State for the last few years. So knows Steve Kerr very well, knows Steph Curry very well. So he's one of the assistants over there in France. Add a little bit more fun into the story, but plenty of storylines coming out in that game. It's just going to be a lot of fun to watch tomorrow.
That's pretty cool. What time is that game?
2:30, I believe. 2:30.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for that, Patrick. Yeah, just make sure the folks out there can set the DVRs they need to, or at least make an appointment viewing. A little factoid about that game before we get to behind the burners curtain here from Steve Sarkisian. Team USA trailed for a little over 35 minutes in that game, only led for a little over 3 minutes of that game. They had trailed for 16 total minutes in the first 4 games combined. And I believe most of that was just like at the beginning of the game when the game was like tied or the team got like, the first bucket and it may have taken them a while or something like that. But that's amazing. That is, and yeah, I do wonder though. So France, do you know how many NBA players they have?
I'd have to look.
Obviously, Gobert and Wemby. Okay.
Gobert and Wemby, Fournier, Batum, I know is on that team.
Okay.
They've got a few more. And
Okay.
I have to
So
look
that's
at
4
it.
off the top of your head though. So
but yeah, I know they've got
they've
got some more that'll be out there playing for him.
Okay.
And then they got some younger guys too that are now part of the league. So they do have some good players. They got some good players on that team. But I mean, the big thing is, it's just going to be weird watching Team USA basketball getting booed pretty heavily.
I can't wait. It's like I said, some of these guys are going to perform better as a villain. What I mean? It's going to bring out the best in them. But not in everybody though. For everybody, it doesn't work out that way. We see that in the playoffs, right? On superstars on the road, it's basically what you're going to be looking at here: superstars and how they perform on the road. All right, we'll get to some more Olympic discussion a little bit later on the show. But let's get to the break, and we'll get to some Steve Sarkisian audio. He met with the media yesterday for the first time since the C.J. Baxter news broke. We'll give you the audio of him talking about C.J. Baxter and addressing all the concerns now that arise for Texas after losing their projected starting running back for the season. We'll get into that and more right here on the Rodcast featuring Patrick Davis. I'm Lifetime Mohorn and Rod Babers coming back on the Horn. All right, welcome back to the Rodcast. Time to get to some Texas football conversation, and we'll hear from the head coach, Steve Sarkisian, and we'll kind of discuss Texas football as we go along here and hear from the head coach. First was the opening statement. I think he wanted to start with something positive, even though he knew what the gorilla, a big 800-pound gorilla in the room was. He didn't want to address it immediately. He started off giving his thoughts about practice. Here's Steve Sarkisian's opening statement of his media availability from yesterday.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to say today was a heck of a practice. I was proud of our guys. You know, we had practiced Saturday. We had taken Sunday off. I mean, we went hard Monday and Tuesday. We took Wednesday off and came back and worked today. We'll have a little lighter practice tomorrow, and then we'll scrimmage Saturday. And I thought the energy, the work ethic, the physicality of practice, the intent which our guys practiced with today was really impressive. I commended them for that up there on the field right now. So we're making good strides across the board in all three phases. Special teams is really starting to come now, looking what it's supposed to look like. We're getting into all of the different phases of the game now, whether it's base downs, third downs, fourth downs, red area, low red, goal line. So we're really working those things, and then we'll introduce 2-minute tomorrow. So the game is starting to come together for our guys now, which is encouraging.
All right. Had Sark talking about the practice overall. At least the team looks like they're in a good place. But CJ Baxter out for the season. That was the big news that Sark had to address. Here's Sark addressing the loss of their starting running back.
Obviously we got some unfortunate news coming out of practice the other day with Cedric Baxter being lost for the season. I hate it for the kid. The same way I talked about Leonga Lafau the other day. If you polled our team, who are the top 3 teammates on our team, Cedric Baxter would be in that top 1, 2, or 3 as well. And as much as we love him for the player that he is, we love him more for the teammate that he is. And, our thoughts and prayers are with him. We're encouraged by all the doctors that he's going to make a really healthy recovery, and we'll have him back for next season. So again, from our perspective, we'll be okay. Naturally, we're going to have to make some adjustments like anything. Anytime you lose a player, you got to make some adjustments, but I think that's the value of trying to recruit at a high level. And the way we practice, the way that we do with a lot of the 2 spots, a lot of our guys are getting reps. And so we're plenty deep enough to still be a very good football team. Again, we would love to have him, but that's the nature of football. And you have to be able to withstand and deal with injuries whenever they present themselves, whether they're in training camp or whether they're late in the season, potential playoff injuries and such. So that's why you have to develop your entire roster. And I think our staff's doing a really good job of that right now.
All right, that's Sark talking about the CJ Baxter injury. So with the CJ Baxter injury now being the main topic of conversation, it leads us to discussing running back depth and the depth in that room overall, and how Sark feels about it now. Here's Sark discussing his thoughts on the overall depth in that room.
As of right now, I feel really good about the 4 guys that we have. They're all playing at a high level, with Jaden and Trey and then Christian and Jarek. To be fair to the rest of the guys on the roster, I kind of want to give them through this first scrimmage. They've been working out of position to give them a chance to play in this first scrimmage. And then, we'll assess on a staff as a staff on Sunday when we evaluate the entire roster, if that's something that we may do.
And at the end there, he actually is referencing a part of the question where the reporter asked, would you consider changing a player's position, switching someone from another position to running back if you needed to because of the lack of depth there? And that's Sark saying, yeah, he would consider it after the scrimmage. They're going to evaluate, and that may be something that they evaluate. Do they come to that conclusion that, hey, we may need to move a guy from wide receiver or linebacker and put him at running back? And I think right now the name that's come up about a player switching positions, I think Ryan Niblett is a name that's come up a little bit, just because he's someone who's not getting any attention really at wide receiver. We haven't heard him mentioned in that circle of trust at wide receiver. And I thought in high school that some folks said maybe in high school that he play a little running back and that he's compact enough. That's an thing too. You need an athlete that they're compact. and the wide receivers that you have, they're all kind of slight. And you need somebody that has a little bit more kind of mass to their frame, and maybe he does. So he could be one of those guys. He's maybe looking for a way to get on the field, and right now it could be tough to get on the field with those top 6 receivers they have out there right now. So that's something. Maybe throw that out there. And maybe there's another guy at another position that you could look at that could play linebacker. Linebacker be a position you look at a guy that could switch over to running back, potentially somebody who's not getting a lot of run there. Anyway, so it's something Sark is considering. Also, Sark was asked about the freshmen, Jarrett Gibson, Christian Clark, specifically those 2 freshmen. How are you going to accelerate and expedite their development, considering now the status of the running back room? Here is Steve Sarkisian.
No, with no question. But we always think kind of down the road. We're always thinking contingency planning. And so, we've touched all along from day one that more guys are going to have to play for us this fall. And it's going to require our freshmen to get indoctrinated to college football quicker. Essentially, we have 4 kind of preseason games before we get into SEC play. And we want to play a lot of people. And to play a lot of people, that means young players have to play, most notably those 2 backs. And so hopefully, they can get some good experience this weekend and continue to grow as players. I've been impressed with both those two young guys here early on in camp. They're working really hard. They got natural ability. They're both physical players. So it's not a development in a sense of, man, they need to get bigger over an offseason. These guys are more than equipped physically to do it. They're just going to need to get them their rep.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. The physical transition for them is not going to be, in my opinion, that's not going to be an impediment. What's going to be the issue is pass protection. That's them, learning the technique, the pass protection, but more about being alignment and assignment sound, knowing where to be and knowing the protection schemes. And the thing Patrick mentioned yesterday is just about ball security, and that'll be another issue as well. But I think in terms of physical, the physicality and their physical skill set being able to transition immediately to the college level, running back is one of those positions that you can see a guy make that leap relatively quickly. Trey Wisner, he's been getting a lot of love from the coaches in the offseason and getting a lot of love, particularly in training camp already. Even in the spring, he was getting a lot of love. Here is Coach Sark talking about Trey Wisner and his role and how it definitely has to expand now.
Trey's a baller. We saw the physicality that Trey possessed last year on special teams. I mean, he was a demon on special teams for us last year. That was a deep running back room that he was sitting in, with Jonathan and Keelan and then Cedric and Jaden. So, when you're sitting there as the 5th back, and then we had Savion even at Wildcat, he didn't maybe get as many carries in game, but we saw what he could do at practice. And then, when he got his few shots there against Tech and against Oklahoma State, he ran hard, he ran physical, he's fast. But the one thing he possesses, he's a really versatile player. And even going back to high school, that championship team they had at DeSoto was a heck of a team. Trey was all over the field and catching balls, running the ball, playing physical. He provides great energy. He's an awesome teammate. So, like I said, we're really fortunate to have him.
All right. And, with Trey Wisner, I think the trust is not only in Trey Wisner, but also in that running back room and the culture of that running back room. I talked about this yesterday. And Sark also has a lot of trust in, whoever separates in that running back room, right? Whoever Tashora Choice ends up designating as the guy. Sark's got complete trust in Tashora Choice coaching ability and his ability to develop talent. Here's Sark talking about that unique culture of excellence in the running back room.
Yeah, I think Coach Choice does a great job in his room. They're one heartbeat in that room. It's not individuals; it's one room. There's a standard for which he sets and we set for how our running backs play in our offense and on our team. As you guys know now, going into year 4, the running back is an integral part of what we do, and they possess kind of the heartbeat of the team and our running style, and then our ability to be really versatile. We ask a lot of the runners. And so when their numbers are called, I think they're all very hungry, right? They work hard. We push them. They get a lot of reps in practice. And so when their number is called in game, generally whoever goes in there plays really well. I mean, you can go back to our very first year. whenever Jonathan Brooks went in the game, it was like, man, he's scoring another long touchdown, And so go back to last year when early in the season, whenever Jaden Blue would get in the game, the BYU game, he's snapping off long runs. And so it's a hungry room. I think Coach Joyce does a great job of motivating those guys, but yet holding them accountable to the standard for which we want those guys to play.
So good stuff to start talking about that standard in that room. And I said it yesterday. I trust that brand, the running back position at Texas, the running back room at Texas, historically, or are you talking about recently? I trust that brand. I trust Chick-fil-A when it comes to my fried chicken nuggets. I trust Green Bay when it comes to quarterbacks. I trust Texas running backs. Even when Texas was bad or playing, mediocre brand of football, they still were producing NFL running backs. And I think this group, we just don't know them. A lot of them are unproven commodities, but I do think ultimately they'll be up to the task. Sark was also, and this is something that I believe is a valid concern. You have running backs that have the, perimeter, kind of a perimeter oriented skill set, especially now like Jaden Blue with his speed, Trey Wisner with his versatility and speed. These guys are not necessarily known for being guys who can execute power run game in the interior on the goal line, maybe short yardage. And when you lost Cedric Baxter, that's also an element of the offense that you lost. Now, I believe is that maybe one of these young guys can fulfill that role, since you can get a running back to translate. I mean, Cedric Baxter was a freshman, ended up winning the starting job. Since we know that a running back skill set can translate relatively quickly to the college level from the high school level, can one of these young guys fulfill that role of being a power back that can run and execute some of the interior runs, but run on short yardage in the goal line situations? And Sark says he's got trust that these two young guys actually can run in between the tackles and get in those hard yards.
Both of them are physical players. Jarek is a workhorse. He's a very hard-nosed runner, tough. Christian's got great one-cut ability. Both catch the ball out of the backfield. But when you see them in person, you just look at their lower halves. They're put together. They're very physical players. They're strong. So I'd have no hesitation running either of those guys between the tackles.
All right. So we don't know. Those guys may end up filling those particular roles on the team right now, and we're not sure if that's going to be a strength for a guy like Jaden Blue or for Trey Wisner. The versatility on the team, this is something Sark's been talking about a lot, right? Even when in recruiting, he's been talking about versatility, and I think also now they're emphasizing it in development because of cross-training. Lots of players on the team, not just on defense. We talk about that a lot, but he's looking for guys to cross-train on offense. All of his receivers have to learn all the different positions. They're cross-training guys on the offensive line as well. So Sark talked about the versatility on the team now, and how ultimately with situations like this, it's going to help safeguard them against injury by manufacturing depth, but also bringing more options to the table for them. Here's Sark.
Well, I think the one thing that it does, you're again, I'm knocking on wood. Down the road, if a couple of guys get nicked up, I know that I've got guys that can play multiple positions for us, first of all. Second of all, as we're going through it, yes, they are versatile, but we are still trying to identify what they do best so that we ultimately can put them in position to do the things that they do best in game, with the understanding that they're not limited to just that there's more to their game than just that. And so that's the process we're in right now, recognizing the versatility, but yet identifying what they do best and ensuring that our job as coaches is to put them in the best position to be successful.
All right, there you go. That's Sark talking about the versatility on the team. Yeah, and I've talked about that all the time, right? Helps you manufacture depth when you're cross-training guys, or you just recruit versatile athletes. Something I've brought up the last couple of days discussing the CJ Baxter injury. One of your options is just give it to Quinn. Empower Quinn now. Throw the football more on early downs, early in the game. Early down pass rate should increase for Sark, and you should throw the football more. Lean on your strengths, and your strengths will determine your identity. Sark was asked, are you going to throw the football more now that your projected starting running back is out for the season? Here's what Sark had to say.
Again, we have a system in place that we love balance. We love versatility. We love multiple personnel groupings. We love motion shifts, formations, all that kind of stuff. But I'm also not, I'm not so stubborn to think that, okay, whatever our team may be best at, that's where you start to have to lean into, a couple years ago, we were a run first, run second, and run third team, and we were really good. There's been different years and different teams I've been a part of where the passing game became the focal point of the offense, and the run game became the complement to that. And so, like I said, we're a week into this thing from a football installation, learning our team perspective. As we start, getting through kind of 2 scrimmages, we'll start to get a real identity for our team and where our strengths are. And then we'll start to lean in that direction, but still not neglect all aspects of our team, because we're at our best when we have really good balance.
All right, there you go. Start talking about what may be options, maybe the options for him now with CJ Baxter out, and I think one of them is, hey, be more pass heavy, and you don't have to be vertically, throwing the football downfield. You don't have to take shots. You can use it with high percentage passes, screen game, RPO, quick game, flare routes to the running back, touches for the running back, essentially extensions of the running game, things that are muscle memory and second nature for Quinn. All right, last cut here. Jaden Blue. He's going to become a featured back now. There's no doubt about that. So buy Jaden Blue stock if you can. Here's start talking about the growth of Jaden Blue as a running back.
Well, I think the first area for Jaden that I've been really proud of him is his maturity. From where he was when he arrived here at the University of Texas to where he is today. This guy's on our leadership committee. He's really a respected player on our team, not only from who he is off the field, but the way he works on the field. Naturally, his skill set is unique because we talk about versatility in our offense, and he's a guy who's a really good threat running between the tackles and can be a home run hitter. When he gets on the edge, it's a problem. He's got great route running ability and hands out of the backfield. So he allows us to do a lot of different things with him. And I think that creates a really nice complement, especially with Trey. Now you have 2 guys on the field that are electric in the backfield and running the ball, but also on the perimeter catching the ball.
All right, that's talking about Jaden Blue, which also I think lends itself more to you airing it out more, or at least throwing the football more, because your 2 top running backs now, Jaden Blue and Trey Weisner, are more versatile perimeter-oriented players. All right, we come back. We got Off the Record on the other side, right here on the Rodcast featuring Patrick Davis. I'm Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers coming back on the Horn. All right, welcome back to the Rodcast. Time to get into a little off the record conversation. This one actually is an interview that Nico Collins of the Texans and Tank Dell were doing at Texans training camp. And in the interview, he's Nico Collins, who's from Michigan, who went to University of Michigan, I should say. He's telling a story about Jim Harbaugh. And I'm sure that this story has been reported, but I don't know if I've ever heard Nico Collins tell the story. So this is Nico Collins telling the story about how Jim Harbaugh was able to seal the deal and close his recruitment. Listen to this recruiting tactic about Jim Harbaugh.
Recruiting story with Coach Harbaugh. Is it true that he
eating his fries?
He ate your fries when he first met
man,
you?
I ate my fries. Look, it was crazy. I came in, man, from lunch, right? So he came in, him and Coach Pep. So they was in the field house, man. You know, he sat down. You know, I was eating my lunch. You know, he was sitting there beside me. He said, "What's up, Jim Harbaugh?" I'm like, "How you doing, Nico Collins?" Like, food look kind of good. He went there and grabbed the fry, right? I'm like, "Go ahead, you know, just have it, you know." But and then that night, man, he came over to the crib. You know, he stayed over. And
he slept over?
Yeah, he slept over. It was crazy. I wasn't expecting him to, you feel me, to chill.
Jim wanted to
chill.
go like in a camper outside, or
man, I'm talking about.
He shared the room.
He came in. No, he was in the living room. He was in the living room on the floor. So he came on the floor. Yeah, so he came in. He came in the city, man. So he was there the whole entire day. Him and Pep Hamilton, and we was there just chilling. You know, he said he was gonna stay the night. I really didn't believe it until he really didn't leave. It was like 9:00. I'm like, oh yeah, he's for real. Yeah, it was for real. You know, so I had to. It was one of them. I was like, yeah, Harbaugh, he's locked in with me, man. And I feel like ever since then, he stood out to me in my whole recruiting process. So I feel like, man, Harbaugh always been that guy for me.
Wow, what'd say he slept over? 2 bold moves. Took one of his French fries off his plate. That's a bold move.
Yeah.
You never know how somebody's gonna take that. Somebody may think that's fun loving, and somebody may go, "This dude just took a French fry off my plate without asking first." That's a bold move. Like I said, you are rolling the dice on that one, because somebody could easily take it the wrong way and be like, "Hey man, you should have asked before you take one of my French fries." But he took the French fry, and it seemed like Nico Collins thought it was fun, thought it was pretty cool. And then the sleeping over at the house, the joke about it, yeah, and then not actually, and then to do it. And to do it, I mean, that's a bit of a risk too. Some people be like, "Man, I think he went too far." So he was walking the edge between, which is I think Jim Harbaugh's personality, between going too far,
Yeah,
and basically hitting a home run. Like basically, it was sealing the deal. And I think it worked. It was a perfect strategy, but nobody else would have been that bold. No other recruiter would have been that bold. Sleeping at your house.
No, and Harbaugh's done that. Like, there's multiple times he's done that, right? We've heard.
I know. Yeah, he slept on some kid's driveway or something. He slept in one time. I was like, nobody. That's a bold thing to do, but Jim Harbaugh's a bold guy. Hey, it worked off. It paid off, man. It paid off. Damn, that's wild, Jim Harbaugh. But you know what? And in Jim Harbaugh's suspension, most people think it's for the Connor Stallions thing. It's not.
No, it's recruiting.
His 4-game suspension is for recruiting violations, because he does stuff like this. Like, he has no filter and he has no boundaries when it comes to recruiting. He just like, "Hey, Jim, I think that's against the rules. Like, I don't think you can do some of the stuff that you're doing." He's like, "I'm doing it." And it's like, well, even if it's not against the rules, I don't think it's appropriate, Jim, for you to be sleeping at this young man's house in his living room. He's like, "I'm doing it." So he's like, he's an habitual line crosser.
Yes.
Whether it be the actual rules or whether it be just like our conventional norms. It's like that dude crosses the line, and I think that's why he's suspended. It's not the Connor Stallions thing.
I wonder if there's a Harbaugh thing in his brain where he's like, "Well, you can visit once and you have this many hours," and he's like, "Well, if I don't leave the house, that's still the same visit."
Yeah, exactly.
So I get 2 days in one visit because I slept. It's one just long visit, but it's one visit.
One visit, man. Yep. Found a loophole. And he admits that he looks for loopholes, right?
Yeah.
He admitted, like, even he's a kid trick-or-treating, he would go trick-or-treating one round, go back, change his costumes, go trick-or-treating again. The guy looks for loopholes. He looks for ways to circumvent the rules. And I definitely believe all the recruiting violations, I believe them. And I believe he definitely was involved in the sign stealing, because he just looked for loopholes to win. I ain't mad at him. There you go. Jim Harbaugh. Is your coach prepared to do that to get a recruit? Is he prepared to sleep over at his house, in his living room? That's amazing. Can't believe it. That's crazy. All right, we come back. We'll get into some discussion about the NFL. We got Jerry Jones' latest statement about the CeeDee Lamb contract negotiations. CeeDee Lamb has a response to it. Dak had answered questions about CeeDee Lamb's response and Jerry Jones' quote. So we'll sift through the Dallas Cowboys drama. We got a Rangers report on the other side. We'll also talk about the preseason games from last night and also the preseason games coming up tonight for the Texans and the Steelers. Steelers doing things that are very unsteeler-like. We'll discuss that and more right here on the Rodcast featuring Patrick Davis and Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers coming back on the horn. Welcome back to the Rodcast. It is a 512 Friday edition of the Rodcast. Actually, it is a freak flag, feel good, fake it till you make it. Ric Flair, woo! 512 Football Friday edition of the Rodcast. And that's when my man Patrick, 512 Fridays, when he plays jams from local bands and artists, folks that you have a chance to hear live right here in the ATX. Who are you jamming right now, Patrick?
This is the Reverend Few, and they are playing tonight, Friday night, at the Saxon Pub.
I like that. The Reverend Few. It's pretty good. Good stuff there. All right. I appreciate Patrick on a 512 Friday. We also appreciate him coming up with the topic for the big fat poll of the day, which is already posted at the Horn ATX on X. You can go check it out. Patrick, what's the topic for the big fat poll of the day?
Big fat poll of the day. Which Cowboy are you most interested in watching in the preseason? We put up there Trey Lance, Deuce Vaughn, Mozzie Smith, and DeMarvion Overshawn. Clearly Overshawn winning. I think that might be a slightly skewed Longhorn vote. But he's winning.
Yeah.
Trey Lance coming in second, Mozzie in third, and Deuce in fourth right now. No love for the Austin boy and Duke and Deuce Vaughn. No one. Is anything feeling? Normally, I thought we may get a little bit more.
Not at all. No love at all. Yeah, DeMarvin Overshawn getting all that love, and I want to see Overshawn, but yeah, Trey Lance is second. I think Trey Lance for me, even over Overshawn. I want to see what Trey Lance looks like. Does he look even different? Does he look good? You want him to look good. I mean, that'd be great because if your phone rings and somebody wants to trade with Trey Lance, you ain't got to trade him. But hey, at least it's good to get offers. And Deuce Vaughn, Mozzie Smith is probably he's got to be out there too because you cannot afford for that Mozzie Smith pick to be a bust. You cannot. You got to get some type of return on that draft pick. All right, so there you go. That's the topic for the big fat poll today. We'll talk NFL. Speaking of Jerry Jones, once again, Jerry Jones has made headlines with a statement he's made, and this time about the CeeDee Lamb contract negotiations, and there was a domino effect, if you will. Michael Parsons has responded to it. CeeDee Lamb himself responded to it. Dak was asked about it. Dak had a response to the question about it. So we'll get to Jerry Jones's quote and talk about the latest. Also, we'll talk about Dak Prescott's contract negotiations. Could Dak right now, could there be a little part of Dak that wants to hit free agency? And if it is, he could break the bank. We'll discuss that. We got Raj Rant coming up. We'll get into a little of the preseason conversation, especially with the matchup tonight. Texans will be in action versus the Steelers. We expect CJ Stroud and a few of the starters to play a couple of drives in that game, maybe a couple of series in that game. So we'll talk about that and talk about the Steelers too. Steelers are in a weird place right now with Mike Tomlin, and we'll dive into that coming up when we go into Raj Rant. We also have a Rangers report. We may get to that next segment too. Not much going on with the Rangers, but we'll give you a nugget about something the Rangers are up to. They did have the day off yesterday, but before we do any of that, let's get updated, let's get informed, let's get educated on all the top stories of the day with Patrick Davis and the Horn Headlines.
All right, the Horn Headlines brought to you by Top Gun Rentals and Lawn Equipment. In the MLB, the Astros begin their series with the Red Sox tonight, sending Roniel Blanco to the mound, looking for his 10th win on the season. They will go up against Tanner Huck, who is 8-8 this season with a 3.09 ERA, and a Red Sox team fighting for a wild card spot in a very competitive AL East. The Rangers start their series with the Yankees, who will start Carlos Rodon in New York tonight. Cody Bradford gets a call for the Rangers in his third appearance returning from injury. Bradford hasn't pitched more than 4 innings since his return and has allowed 8 runs in those outings. In the NFL preseason action last night, the Patriots defeated the Panthers 17-3, with Carolina only able to pick up 151 yards in the game. And second-year running back Eric Gray scored both of the Giants' touchdowns in a 14-3 win over the Lions, adding 52 yards on the ground and 46 yards receiving. Tonight, the Texans and Steelers face off, with the Texans expecting to play their starters for a few series, while Pittsburgh will start Justin Fields, who is in a competition with Russell Wilson for the starting job. However, Wilson will not play in the game. Also facing off tonight includes games from the Falcons against the Dolphins and the Eagles taking on the Ravens. Team USA basketball survived a real scare from Serbia in the semifinals, coming back from down 13 in the final seconds of the third quarter to win 95-91. Steph Curry had a historic performance, putting up 36 points, shooting 9 for 14 from 3. Big plays by Joel Embiid, Kevin Durant, LeBron James led USA back to tie the game with 3:43 left and take the lead for good with just over a minute later on a Curry 3. USA will now take on France in the gold medal game Saturday at 2:30 p.m. And looking at the medal count right now, USA falls back to second place in the gold medal count. China now at 31 gold over USA's 30. USA still has the lead in silvers with 38, bronze with 35, and total medal count with 103, but down one there to China in the Olympic gold medal count. And breakdancing has officially begun at the Olympics. That is your Horn headlines.
Oh, breakdancing. Oh, breaking. Sorry. I
Breaking, yes.
Kids wouldn't call it breaking. We sound old when we say break dancing. All right. Now, I can't watch it on Peacock because I don't have access to the app out here in the office.
It may be on one of the channels. It may be on something, but
let me check. I doubt it. You're right. It's not one. It's definitely not one of the more popular sports. So it's definitely no. I don't see it right now. I got diving. Yeah. I don't think they're gonna give it to me. All right. So you said they have a DJ. There is a DJ.
There's two DJs.
There's two DJs. So each team competing has a DJ, like each.
Well, no, there's just
like
two up on top. So I think they're for everybody, and they've been given the music they're going to play and scratch to and everything else.
Now, okay, so it is not a dance off. They go one at a time, correct?
They are going one at a time. So there's two they put out. It's basically a big circle, in the middle, and then there's the two B girls will be on. So they introduce everybody, and then two B girls stand up there, and then one goes. And then she sends it off, and the next person comes in, and they both stand on the circle, and they go back and forth at each other. It is
a dance off type.
Yeah, there's already been a slide at one of the girls. She slid at the other girl. One of them did like a Hadouken, like a little fireball. I don't know thing. They did that already.
Street Fighter reference, love it.
Hold
up! I think I got it.
Got it. It's a cool little stage.
Breaking.
It's got a big boom box above
yes,
the DJs.
I'm on breaking right now, I think. Oh, yes. I got the B-boy. He's got a do-rag on.
Yeah, and so you
Nika.
And then you've got these. Well, no. So these are the two MCs that are introducing everybody. That's Nika right there.
Yes, I'm saying. Nika, yeah, I got him right there. Yes. Okay, I'm looking at it.
That's a B girl, by the way. That's a B girl.
Okay, all right. You know what? I'm so invested.
Yes.
Done.
No, there is.
Right.
I've counted 2 bucket hats on the judges already.
Oh. Man, I gotta say, okay. So, and you said is the music? Is it old school music, or we got?
It was kind of old school. I don't know if it may be like rights free music.
See if I can. I can tell the two little DJs here. They're trying to bring the energy.
Yeah, so there's 2 hype men up there. The 2 DJs are up. You see the boombox up top?
Yeah,
those are the 2 DJs up there with the turntables.
Yes. Okay. No, the 2 hype men. You're right. They got a hype man and they got a DJ.
Yeah. So each person gets their own hype man when they come out, and they kind of go back and forth.
Oh man, this is pretty wild.
This is in the Olympics, Rod.
This is crazy. Yeah. This music is not. This is not old school breakdancing music. It's not. This is like some. I don't even know what it is. It's like, maybe this is like from their host country, like from the country they from.
Is this from the girl from this? She's from Lithuania.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe it's from Lithuania then. I mean, she's not terrible.
No.
Oh, she just slid. Okay. Oh, yeah, there you go. See, they got some acrobatic moves. Yeah, okay, that's some old school moves here. Yeah, they did the head. It's just a head twirl. Okay. Okay, yeah, they got some old school moves. Okay. And it is. I like how they make it basically a dance off. It's like a challenge.
Yeah. And it's you go again. So the first one was like the first person won 3-0 because they got all the votes.
Like how are we scoring this? Do we know what the scoring system is? Oh, this is crazy. I don't know what the scoring system is. All right, there you go. That's we'll give you some more synopsis in our own summary of breaking in the Olympic Games. Yeah. Oh, now it's France, right? Okay.
So yeah, Lithuania versus France in this one, I believe.
Oh,
yes.
She's pretty good actually. She started out with her acrobatic moves. He kind of wanted to build up into his. She started out with the.
You got to remember, Nika's a girl. She just wearing a do-rag.
Oh, sorry. I mean, I thought I said she. My bad.
There's a big boys and girls. I think she's just really, really young.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. All right. That's enough.
It's enthralling. It is enthralling stuff to
watch.
It is.
Breaking. I can't take my eyes off of it.
I can't wait for the gold medal match of this.
Oh man.
When something's like really with the gold medal match of breaking.
I can't even it's like I said, I can't wait for Team USA. I gotta see how Team USA looks in all this too. All right, well, let's get to it. Let's hear from Jerry Jones, because Jerry Jones, he spoke to the media and they were asking him about the contract negotiations with CeeDee Lamb. And CD, of course, it famously now people know he responded to the tweet that was tweeting the Jerry Jones quote. But this is the actual audio. Tried to get as much of it as I could so that I was trying to see if something was taken out of context, because the quote was really weird because it started talking about high school and college and stuff like that. So we do have as much of it as we can get. It's like 30 seconds of it. So I hope we didn't take it out of context. But here's Jerry Jones when he was asked about CeeDee Lamb's contract, and this is the quote that probably did not help those negotiations.
Are you saying there's a sense of urgency as you begin the preseason to get CD done?
No.
No? Why you say that?
I'm just I went to high school or I went to college. I don't know why I said it, but I'm just saying I don't know. I don't have a sense of urgency about getting it done.
It's a long-standing tradition.
Pick any reason you want. I was at Nobu 2 days ago. Give that as a reason.
Yes, sir.
Basically, I have no reason for why. Basically, what he said is, I don't have a reason for why I don't have an urgency to get the deal done. I just don't have a sense of urgency to get it done. And you can debate that with, if you're a Cowboys fan and if that's bad business practice, which it is. All right, Jerry should be trying to get these deals done as soon as possible. At this point, you're at the midnight hour. It's not going to save you any money to get it done, right now, as opposed to getting it done, I don't know, in 2 weeks or closer to the actual start of the season, because you're paying top dollar now, period. The time to save money by being proactive, though, that's done. That's done. You've already missed that point. But like I said, there's some part of me that is starting to believe the conspiracy theory that Jerry Jones is just a master promoter and a master marketing genius when it comes to promoting and marketing the Cowboys brand, which is why they are the most valuable sports team in the world. Or I think it's in the world. I think even internationally, I think they're worth like close to $10 billion. Like, it's the most valuable sports franchise in the world. And Jerry Jones understands how to stir up a storyline. And I always say they're the number one TV star on the number one TV show in America. And the reason is because Jerry Jones keeps them relevant. He does. And it's stuff like this. Like, you would argue, well, this is bad business practice. But you could also argue that it's keeping the Cowboys relevant. We talk to Cowboys every day as a result of the CeeDee Lamb contract negotiations. They're going to be on all the televisions and all the TV sports shows. And, and even the drama of him saying he has no urgency to get the deal done. They're like, why don't you have urgency? And he can't even give you a reason why there's no urgency to get the deal done. Someone could jump out on the grassy knoll and jump to the conspiracy theory, jump to the conclusion that, Jerry's just doing it for publicity and headlines. And it works. His formula works. All right. Because I always say you need conflict to create storylines, and Jerry knows how to keep the conflict and the storylines going. Here's the Jerry Jones quote this was from July. And this was mid-July when he was being asked about the CeeDee Lamb contract. And this was after he had left the stage in the podium at the news conference. He had already left the stage, and he was being asked follow-up questions on the side because Jerry he loves the media. And I think this is one time where he kind of slipped up and let it be known, at times what the intentions or kind of added value is for his approach, his business approach, and I think also his marketing approach to the Dallas Cowboys. When he was asked about contract negotiations for CeeDee Lamb, he said, quote, "I'm just going to say this to y'all. Give me some credit, okay? You don't think I'm good with numbers? You don't think I know how to add and subtract? Do I know how to talk and sell? I realize all the criticism and I understand it. As a matter of fact, I try to stir it up, and I have since I got here. That's good. Be relevant. It works." He's basically I think he got a little tired of people questioning his business acumen and said, guys, what are y'all talking about? Basically wanted to say my franchise is the most valuable franchise in sports for a reason. I know what I'm doing, guys. All right. This is a television show, and I am the head writer I'm the director here. And people pay more attention and more people watch my television show than any other television show in America. The Dallas freaking Cowboys. I'm the most valuable franchise, sports franchise on the planet. I think I know what I'm doing. He says, I try to stir it up. As a matter of fact, I try to stir it up. And I have since I got here. That's good. Be relevant. It works. What do I always say? In entertainment, there's like 2 rules in entertainment. Be good or be interesting. It'd be great to be both. But if you can't be good, at least be interesting. Jerry Jones, he knows that rule. Cowboys are always interesting. And they always generate headlines and they always get free media. So I'm not saying it is the reason that he is, basically drawing this out to the midnight hour with the contract negotiations. No. I'm just saying that he extracts the added value from it, which he knows is, hey, might as well get some headlines out of this damn thing. Might as well. When I say no urgency, trust me, it'll be plastered all over every sports program in the country. No urgency for CeeDee Lamb. And CeeDee Lamb responding? Oh, I don't even know. You couldn't write that any better, because CeeDee Lamb, when the quote was posted on social media by John Machota, CeeDee Lamb posted LOL to the quote. So now we got a little infighting going on social media. Brilliant. Conflict creates storylines. Hey, guys, it's entertainment 101. And Jerry Jones I'm telling you, he's brilliant at it. He's the best promoter in sports. It ain't Dana White. It ain't somebody in boxing. It's Jerry Jones. He's amazing at it. And everybody thinks like, oh, this guy's off his rocker. Maybe, but he ain't lost his touch with that. He ain't. And this is, like I said, this is one of the reasons I think it's going on. It's not the only reason, but it's one of the things that Jerry Jones, he looks at the value in that. And some people would say, well, that's bad business. Yeah, of course it's bad business. But is it bad for business? That's what Jerry Jones. Yeah, I know it's bad business, guy, but is it bad for business? No, it's actually good for business. It's bad business, but not bad for business. I know. I'm just giving you the Jerry Jones logic.
No, it's a Jerry Jones logic that, as someone who likes sports, wishes that everyone would walk away. That just everyone's like, we're never re-signing with you, Jerry. Forget it. We'll go somewhere else. We want to go to a team that wants to win Super Bowls and not be the number one franchise. We just don't care anymore. You don't want to win. You want to win in Forbes. You don't want to win in the NFL. We get that. We understand that. So why do we want to re-sign here? If you want to re-sign us, pay us more than anyone has ever been paid, and I want it in cash up front, because I understand that I'm signing away the chance to ever win a Super Bowl if I play for the Dallas Cowboys, because you are not going to go all in.
Ooh, yeah. I don't disagree with that. I mean, like I said, just because he's not always fully focused on like doing what's best to help you win football games. He's doing what's best for the franchise overall. And oftentimes that's not that those can be different things. Like I said, what's best, is it good for business or is it good business? Right. And that's, but it's like I said, it's bad business, some of the stuff he does, but I don't know if it's bad for business. And I think Jerry Jones sees the other side of it. And who could argue? They're the guys. It works. Nobody's more valuable than the Cowboys. No franchise out there. And they haven't won a lot. They win, but they don't win enough to be the most valuable sports franchise in the world. And a part of it is like, and I think if you would see him spend like more, we talk about the cash thing all the time. If you would see them spend more cash, and then actually, that translate that value into trying to win on the field, then I think you would have people that would believe more of what the Cowboys are saying when they say they're going all in. But there's a disconnect between what is done, what they actually they're for the Cowboys, in my opinion, what they've done in the offseason and their approach to the offseason and the moves they make and the acquisitions and the things that they say. But this is the first time, I guess, what he's saying is lining up with their actions, because he's saying there's no urgency to sign CeeDee Lamb, and there doesn't seem to be urgency to sign CeeDee Lamb. Now, when Dak Prescott was asked about it, because as we pointed out, CeeDee Lamb responded on social media when John Machota posted that quote on social media, when Jerry Jones saying there's no urgency. CeeDee Lamb, he responded with LOL . And then Dak Prescott, when he was asked about it, of course. Oh, by the way, Michael Parsons also reposted the CeeDee Lamb quote of LOL dot. He reposted that. But when Dak Prescott was asked about it by the media, Dak Prescott said, I know y'all want to ask. I got urgency for it to happen, is what Dak said. And I think the media kind of broke out in laughter. Yeah, he's got urgency. Guys, this may go over into the season. It's possible. I said the other day, I wonder if CeeDee Lamb will request a trade. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. There have been plenty of players request a trade, and then they end up getting the deal they want with their team. It's just a tactic in negotiation, just a strategy. I wonder if CeeDee Lamb's at the point now where, all right, man, you know what? Maybe it's time to request a trade. Maybe at this point, Jerry Jones put out there that he's got no urgency to sign. Maybe I'm like, all right, you know what? I request a trade. I didn't demand one, but I just request. Because that's going to be another card for him to play. But we should, or like I said, none of this matters. And this is Jerry Jones saying, I'm just going to wait till the midnight hour because I know, it's good for Dallas Cowboys headlines and it's good for the Dallas Cowboys hype machine. Just wait till the last minute to get the deal done. And maybe that's why he always waits till the last minute. Now people are like, well, why do Cowboys wait so long? Maybe that's the blueprint. You milk it for as much free media as you can. And y'all be like, that's stupid. Well, yeah, for football reasons, it's stupid. But for the franchise of the Dallas Cowboys and the brand of the Cowboys, I don't know if it's stupid. You still get the player. You still sign the player. And that's what ultimately Cowboys fans want. You get the player. Do you get the value in the contract negotiation? No, you lose all the value. But do you get the value to extract it elsewhere with the media? And how much does that matter? For Jerry Jones, it does.
No, and it's do you get the culture, and do you get a winning culture and people that want to be there, or do you get people that want to be, or it's just they see it's all a show. It's all a show. Don't matter, win or lose. Jerry makes his money, so why do we win? Like I'd like to win, but I mean, who cares? Jerry don't care.
I don't know if he cares just about certain things.
He doesn't, because he has every ability to change it. So you can say I don't care more than being on a list of value. That matters more to me than winning a Super Bowl. 100% any day of the week for Jerry Jones being the most valuable franchise. If you said you could win the next 5 Super Bowls, but you'd have to be the 5th most valuable franchise, or you will never win a Super Bowl in your lifetime, and you'll be the most valuable, he would take most valuable every day of the week. And that's the problem with the Cowboys.
He's won 3 Super Bowls.
He has, right? and it doesn't feel like he's going to win another one the way he does business.
No, it does not feel like he's going to win another one. No, I agree. I agree with you there 100%. Yeah, it is, like I said, that I know Cowboys fans have that theory, but there are times where, you feel like, even as an outsider looking in, you feel like Jerry Jones' priorities are off, and it's not necessarily about the winning doesn't matter the most. There are other things that matter the most.
No, and the worst part for Cowboys fans is it doesn't feel like Steven's any different.
No, not at all. I think Stevens, I think he's right off that that apple does not fall far from that tree. I mean, he's right from that, cut from that mold, Jerry Jones. So, like I said, I don't know why it's taking so long, but Jerry Jones says no sense of urgency there. We'll see. This is a game of chicken between him and CeeDee Lamb. We'll see who ends up folding first in this negotiation. All right, we come back. We'll get into, we got the Rangers report we got to get to on the other side. We got Rod's rant. That'll be kind of a smorgasbord. We'll talk about the Steelers and the Texans tonight and that preseason matchup. We'll also talk about the preseason matchups from last night, get into that a little bit. The new kickoff return rules, what's been the, so far, what's been the result of the new kickoff return rules. We'll give you some of those numbers, all of that and more right here on the Rodcast featuring Patrick Davis on Lifetime Longhorn. Rod Babers coming back on the horn. All right. Oh man, I'm just looking at this breaking competition going on in the Olympics. Unbelievable. There's, I guess, a culture because they're essentially doing it dance off style. So the stare downs and the eye contact is kind of awkward as well. See this, yeah, he doesn't want to have eye contact, but she doesn't, excuse me, want to have eye contact, but it's weird. The eye contact seems to be part of it, that you got to stare down your opponent. That's big. That's big. But I gotta
Yeah,
tell
they
you,
keep, and that's what's funny is they keep doing full eye contact, and then they get done, and they immediately turn their back on the other person, and the other person is like coming at them. They got the dance prepared to come at them, and then they come at them,
yes,
but their backs turned, so it doesn't hold the same weight. It's
you're
just
right. It's a challenge. It's like the challenge. You're right. I don't. They rarely respond, or at least they rarely.
yeah.
The person being challenged by the dancer, they don't really do anything. They just kind of walk and look down and look around until it's their turn to dance again. And here she goes. She's about to. She had to tighten. She had to tighten the bun up because the hair came loose. The bun wasn't tight enough. And I guess you get to choose your own. Like, the uniforms are not home
No,
country
they're not.
affiliated uniforms. Like
No, they're wearing their own
whatever they
style.
want to wear.
But
right?
I mean, a lot of loose cargo
Oh,
pants.
yes.
The cargo pant, loose cargo pant, is very much.
Yes, great point. Yes, I want to say 80% of the participants I've seen have been wearing some kind of cargo pants.
Which I
it's
figure
amazing.
pockets are the enemy of breakdancing.
Yeah,
Because anything in your pocket is going to hurt when you slide around and do. I need
That's
empty
true.
pockets. So why are you wearing pants with so many more pockets?
But that's why you definitely need the cargo pockets, though, because you need the pockets that can zip up or close.
Oh, yeah,
or
because
you
you're
can-
going to
you know
fly
what
it
I mean?
around, keys it up in the third row.
Just throw it exactly. That move and your phone went flying. So you need to. I see that why she got that going on. All right, her hair came out again.
No.
Her bun's not tight enough. Her hair keeps coming loose, and it's getting in her. She's hyped. She's hyped now. She's hyped. Oh, she's hyped now. The opponent got real hyped that time. And they're using, I got the crowd. You can actually like gesture to the crowd too. Because these ladies are like, they get hyped off the crowd and like point to the crowd a little bit.
By the way, Rod, when you're watching this later, just watching the crowd, there's like a few people out in this crowd every once in a while. Oh, these guys are sitting down now. There were some guys that were just straight up dancing early, like just going with it earlier. Some guys.
I mean, the music must have been jamming in.
And then some track suits, and they were just
maybe the music was jamming in, or maybe they on the team. Maybe they got a breaking team.
Yeah, maybe
on the team.
I don't know. It was
kind of thing. Wow. It's fascinating. Sorry, guys. I had to give you a little play-by-play there. All right, let's get to Rod's rant. Let's talk about the kickoff rules, the new kickoff rule changes in the NFL so far. So in preseason, we've had 3 games. You've had, I think, 17 kickoffs returned, which is a good number. Only 1 touchback. Remember, the goal of the new kickoff rules is basically to eliminate the touchback, because the touchback turned the kickoff into it was a dead play, and they wanted to resuscitate that dead play. And essentially they have. Now, have they had the big returns? No. Longest returns have been 29 and 31 yards, small sample size, only 3 games, and an average of just under 24 yards per kickoff return. So you're not getting the huge returns yet. I think that'll come as teams become more acquainted with the new setup, the new format, and I think you'll get better athletes on special teams once they cut the rosters down. Right now, you got a lot of Rod B's out there, just jabronis. You have better athletes, so they'll execute the kickoffs better, and that means you'll have fewer penalties, because you've had actually 5 penalties on those 17 kickoffs. That's a pretty large number. That's because guys don't know what the hell they're doing, and like I said, you got a lot of players like me who are just trying to struggle to make a team out there, and you won't have that during the regular season. Also, there'll be more dynamic returners during the season, and you'll situationally, I think you'll get some of the best overall, most explosive, dynamic playmakers on the teams. Situationally, if a team wants good field position before a 2-minute drive, 2-minute drill, before a game-winning drive scenario, they may want to get in really good field position. They may put one of their best big money, dynamic, explosive playmakers back there, and I think you'll start to get some better and more explosive returns. So I think during the season that'll increase, but right now their main goal, their main goal was to eliminate the touchback, and they've all but done that. I mean, we have 1 touchback so far out of 3 games. That's good ratio. That's exactly what they want. Now I think you just want to see longer returns from the players. I think you will. once teams get better at executing it. Okay, so there's your update on the kickoffs. I'll try to keep up with that, but once the games get started, it's really tough to keep up with it. But hopefully one of those will break. Matter of fact, Deshaun Jameson actually almost broke one last night for the Panthers. He had like a 26-yard return and almost had a pick six that he dropped. Yeah, but had a nice PBU. So Deshaun Jameson looking pretty good for the Panthers out there. Let's talk about tonight, the Steelers and the Texans. And this is going to be an interesting game for a lot of reasons. And on the Texan side, I think it'll be interesting because you got to get to see this offense is going to be a new look offense. Now, I don't know if all the starters are going to play. I know CJ Stroud's going to play 2 to 3 series, but I don't know if D'Amico Ryans of those guys have admitted if all the starters are going to play. So I think maybe CJ Stroud's going to play. I think you probably get Nico Collins out there, maybe. I don't know about Stephon Diggs. Sometimes older guys, it's like they get seniority. Tank Dell, because of the injury, I'm not sure about the Tank Dell thing either. And Dalton Schultz was dealing with some like little bumps and bruises in training camp, so I'm not sure. But I know CJ Stroud is going to play for 2 series, 2 or 3 series is what D'Amico Ryan said. So that's good news on that side. But on the other side, the quarterback competition, the quarterback audition going on right now for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And what I believe is going on, that's why Justin Fields is going to start the game. Russell Wilson is listed on the unofficial depth chart, which is endorsed by Mike Tomlin as the starter. So he is the starter right now, but Mike Tomlin is on the record saying that game reps, preseason or regular season, matter more than practice reps. So if Justin Fields in this preseason game shows some promise and can, lead this team on some scoring drives and really, I think ultimately make his case for being a starter, inspire the locker room a little bit, I think Mike Tomlin would be open to making it a competition, or at least he would gain some ground in that quarterback competition, because Russell Wilson hasn't won the job, in my opinion. I think Russell Wilson is the safest option because even though Justin Fields has got a tremendous upside, we just haven't seen him do it consistently at all. So Russell Wilson might be the safer option, but ultimately a coach wants a quarterback competition to resolve itself. You don't even want to have to name a guy a starter from a quarterback competition. You want it to be so obvious to the locker room, so obvious to the coaches and everybody who's observing that competition that one guy is better than the other. I would say quarterback competitions are like elections, and you don't want a contested election, right? You want to be a clear winner in the election. Already everybody knows, so everybody can accept it. And I think often with this, well, at least from what I've read, with this quarterback competition, I don't know if either quarterback has won the job. And that's what a coach wants. He wants the guy to go win the job. And I think that's why he's giving Justin Fields a chance to go win the job. Like, go win it. And if you can go win it, yeah, potentially it could be yours. By the way, I'll say this. I don't think either one of them are going to end up being the answer for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers at one point, they're going to have to get Mike Tomlin another quarterback. And the answer is not Russell Wilson. And even though Justin Fields has got a lot of talent, it's not him either. I'll give you a couple of stats about both of these guys. The last 2 years, looking at second half dropbacks, look at 32 qualifying quarterbacks, I think that have thrown at least, I believe it was like 300 second half dropbacks. Russell Wilson, 30 out of 32, ranked 30 out of 32 quarterbacks in success rate. Justin Fields ranked 32nd out of 32 quarterbacks in success rate on second half dropbacks. Look at sack rate on second half dropbacks. Justin Fields, 10.6%. Sack rate on second half dropbacks, 30th out of 32 starting quarterbacks. Russell Wilson, 11.3% sack rate, 31st out of 32 starting quarterbacks. And remember, they moved on from Kenny Pickett, and Kenny Pickett, hell, he was 16th out of 32 quarterbacks in success rate in second half dropbacks, and 19th in sack rate. And those were pretty bad. Kenny Pickett, although they ended up winning some clutch games, I think I gave you a stat earlier about him in fourth quarter comeback scenarios, game-winning drive scenarios. He actually was pretty good in those situations, but only because Mike Tomlin is a hell of a coach. He had a 60% win percentage and a 63% win percentage in fourth quarter comeback game-winning drive scenarios, actually even higher than Patrick Mahomes. But we know that ain't because of Kenny Pickett. I mean, Kenny Pickett, if you look at touchdown interception ratio, he was tied for the worst in his first 2 seasons, 40th in yards per attempt at the quarterback, and his points per game. They were scoring less than 17 points per game with Kenny Pickett as a starter. And yet, this is how, I think Mike Tomlin is a hell of a coach. The Steelers went 9-2 in one-score games last year. What? 9-2 in one-score games. Best in the NFL. Steelers 34-11 in one-score games since 2020. Best record in the NFL in that division, by the way. In arguably the toughest division in football, in one-score games, they were 9-2 last year, 34-11 over the last 3 years, and they haven't even had a quarterback for the last 2 years. Well, you throw out there Kenny Pickett, but my point, they've been struggling at the quarterback position. So they just got to go find Tomlin the coach. They find Tomlin the coach and start spending some money. I gave you a stat earlier. You look at cash spending at different positions for the Steelers. They are at 30th in cash spending at quarterback, 31st at cash spending at wide receiver, 26th in cash spending at tight end, and they are, if you go look at it, 23rd overall in cash spending on the offensive line. And like I said, that division it's an arms race going on in that damn division. It was there have been only 2 divisions in the history of the NFL where have all the teams in the division have a winning record. To all have winning teams, and that was AFC North in 2023 and 1935, the West Division. So it is competitive as all get out, and the Steelers right now, they're losing that arms race, but yet they got a hell of a coach in Mike Tomlin. So we'll see where they go, but I think ultimately Justin Fields, I'm not going to say he's going to disappoint, but I don't think he or Russell Wilson are going to be the answer for the Steelers going forward, but we shall see. All right, let's get to, we don't have a ton in our Rangers report, but we'll get you a Rangers report before we get out of here, but not too much going on. I did have the day off yesterday, but let's get to our Rangers report before we're done for the day.
The Rangers report is brought to you by Texas Truck and Trailer.
All right, Rangers going to be starting up. Rangers right now actually 5.5 games back out of the lead in the division. They are starting up a series versus the Yankees tonight, so that's always big news. Starting up a series. They've been in New York City, starting up a series with the Yankees just yesterday. Not yesterday, I believe earlier this week, I should say. They visited the White House. I believe that was yesterday, actually, on their day off, if I'm not mistaken. I could be off about that. They had the day off yesterday.
Yeah, they had the day off yesterday, so they should.
Yeah, so I think it was yesterday. They visited the White House yesterday, so that was a pretty cool experience for the world champions. You forget the Rangers are the defending world champions just because of the way the season has gone. But still a lot of season to play. We'll see if the Rangers can make a move. I mean, they're not out of it.
No, they're what 5.5 back from
5.5 back
from the Astros right now. So they're not terribly out of it. The biggest issue they have is that the AL East, where they're playing the Yankees and the Red Sox, those teams are just so good right now that the wild card is pretty much out of the picture at this point. You're not going to pass all those teams up in the wild card, so you have to win the AL West. That's really the biggest issue that they have, is that there's 2 other teams there. Now, we know the Mariners have struggled down the stretch a lot before. They did make some moves to add some people. The Astros are, playing okay, but not playing great either. So if you get it put together, there was a report that Jacob deGrom didn't join him on this trip because he's really trying to rehab to make an appearance to come back to add more depth into that rotation. If you add him back in, and then, just get your hitters back, there's that hope that you can make that run down the stretch. I don't think they've already finished their series with the Astros. So they're not going to be able to make up big ground on them anymore. But you just go, team gets a bad break and lose a couple games with an injury or something else, you're right back in it. So they're not dead in the water yet, but just need to. They need some help, and they got to start winning some of these series against good teams. Yankees are going to be playing really well. They haven't been playing great lately. Aaron Judge has been playing great, but not the rest of the team. So if they can get a win in this series, it'll be big.
Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, you got the team with the most wins in the West has 60. That's Seattle, but Houston with the lead in the division. They got 60, and then you look across the American League, and there are 3 teams in the East that have at least 60 wins. There are 3 teams in Central that have at least 60 wins.
Yeah.
So that, to your point, the wild card is out of the question right now for them. They got to make a run in that division somehow, and if that's the case, they just need some help because they don't have. They're done with their games against Houston, so they need a little bit of help. They need Houston to struggle a little bit, or you need Seattle to struggle a little bit down the stretch here. But they gotta start getting back to their winning ways. They gotta start pulling off some series wins, and they gotta go on a winning streak. What's the longest winning streak the Rangers have had this year?
I couldn't type top of my head. I know, like maybe
It's
like
not very long.
Corey Bradford's getting the start tonight. He started off with 3 wins his first 3 games before he got injured really early in the season. He's come back and he's basically played in 2 games and allowed 8 runs in those 2 games. Hasn't been that effective in those. If he can start to pull back, you see some of these guys come back from injury to, it's hard to step back in and be really good right away, but that's kind of what they need with the clock ticking on the season.
They had a 5-game winning streak to start off July. It was like at the beginning of July. They had 2 4-game winning streaks earlier in the season. And those were the 2 longest, but then they start off July. Yeah, they did. They had a really promising day. Won 3 against Tampa Bay, and they won 2 against the Angels to start off. And that was right before they played Houston. So they need like one. They need one more winning streak like that, or a couple of more. On top of the Astros maybe struggling a little bit, and then the Rangers can get back in this thing. All right, we come back. We'll get ready to wrap it up and put it in the oven. Before we do, we'll let you know who said that, or we'll play who said that. That's when Patrick plays pieces of audio from the sports world, sometimes beyond the sports world, and based on the familiarity of the voice or the context clues, hopefully you can identify and recall who said that. We'll play that when we come back right here on the Rodcast featuring Patrick Davis and Lifetime No Horn. Rod Davis coming back on the horn.
The Rangers Report is brought to you by Texas Truck and Trailer, your premier truck accessory dealer.
All right, welcome back to the Rodcast. It's 512 Friday. That's when Patrick plays jams from local bands and artists, very talented human beings that you have a chance to catch live right here in the ATX. Who are we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is Vallejo. They are playing Saturday at Antone's.
Nice. One of my favorites. One of our favorites, no doubt about that. Appreciate Patrick on a 512 Friday. Just watching the breaking right now still, and they are using more generic music. They're not using like some original break dancing music, stuff like that. But I think they should. Hip hop, and I don't know. This is probably the last year they're going to have this. The hip hop community probably should have embraced breaking more, because I think the genesis of breaking is from hip hop music, and they should have let them use some of the actual licensed old school music.
Get Grandmaster Flash. Just pay Grandmaster Flash a little bit to come out here and
seriously,
get that catalog. I mean, he had to be tons of stuff.
Exactly. Like, seriously, you can use the entire catalog from Grandmaster Flash and get like Dougie Fresh or whatever. Yeah. And then I'm serious. That would have been the hip hop community should have jumped at the opportunity, because all people would have done is listen to the music and went, "Oh, who is that?" They would have Shazammed it, and then they'd have went to whatever Apple Music to download it. It really would have worked, man.
I don't know. Maybe Snoop will be the advocate now that he's front row.
That's true. I guess who's going to be the conduit? Like, who's going to make that connection to the hip hop community and say, "Hey, y'all do that." Like, it's got to be somebody respected. Snoop's respected enough to go, "Hey, I will talk to them people." But that would have been a great opportunity, though, for kind of the hip hop culture to expand even more. Not that it's not mainstream, but hell, man, you got any basically an Olympic event? It's a hip hop event, basically. They should have had the real music playing. That would be cool. And that music back then, you had to worry about cussing. Like, they weren't cussing and stuff back then. No. It was just like, that was more a fun loving part of hip hop. So you had to worry about the gangster element of it. So you ain't got to worry about being politically incorrect. Thought it'd been a great opportunity. All right, there you go. So breaking is happening. Look at Team USA, baby. Team USA. Let's go. USA. All right, let's time to play Who Said That. That's when Patrick plays pieces of audio from the sports world, sometimes beyond the sports world, and based on the familiarity of the voice or based on the context clues, you got to try to identify and recall who said that.
I think that's one of the things that a lot of people forget. When you can go out, you can see practice, you can knick-knack, this, that, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. Deshaun Watson is going to turn it on. He always going to find a way to shine when the lights come on. Man, I just rhymed. Can I leave off that one? I know that one going to hit.
Dude, I swear, Jameis Winston is one of the most funniest, unintentionally funny people I've ever seen in my life. I don't think he's actually trying to be funny, but he is hilarious. Can we hear that again? That is so funny. This dude is hilarious. Knick-knack, paddywhack.
I think that's one of the things that a lot of people forget. When you can go out, you can see practice, you can knick-knack, this, that, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. Deshaun Watson is going to turn it on. He always going to find a way to shine when the lights come on. Man, I just rhymed. Can I leave off that one? I know that one gonna hit.
Oh man, you're trying to knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog. I mean, he dude is hilarious. I can't. Y'all need to give him a reality TV show or something, please. I want to watch more Jameis Winston.
He also rhymed "done" with "on," I believe, in it. I think
like
that's
he's
what he rhymed.
Eminem or something. Yeah,
he rhymed some words that don't really rhyme, and he was like, "I rhymed that. You should."
Oh man, nobody's having more fun than Jameis Winston, man, being the NFL backup. I love it. Oh, that's great. Knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. Deshaun Watson gonna turn it on. You know what I'm saying? There you go. Wow, they should play that in the stadium, like when Deshaun Watson has like a touchdown pass. They should like replay Jameis Winston saying that. All right, there you go. That's Who Said That. Thank you, Patrick, for everything you do, brother. Great job as always. Have a great weekend too, because you deserve it. I know you're just gonna try to finish watching breaking up here, because now we are riveted by the breaking action up here. Also, thank you guys for listening all week long. We appreciate you. Remember, the revolution will not be televised, but we'll be talking about it right here on the Rodcast. We love you guys. We mean that. Take care of yourselves, but more importantly, take care of each other. Until next time, hook 'em and peace.